Yo, what's up, dudes? How was y'all's weekend? Alright. Oh. What's up, guys? How are y'all? Christ. Alright. Astro, I don't know if you put anything on the list, but fucking feel free, I guess. Whatever anybody requested, or I suppose I was just gonna do my own thing, really, for the most part, and just go through my watch later. But I'll leave it on the Xmclive list for now. No, you changed it already. Oh, okay, that was fast. Oh, Astro, I've seen that already. Take that off. By the decoy voice. Yeah, Astro, the one you requested, I already saw it. No, we didn't watch it on stream. I saw it on my own time. I'm not watching it twice, so you gotta change it. Sorry. Ugh. Oh, bro. Yo, Candy, what's good? Fitting weird. Country girl, what's good? Oh no, that's the variety stream from the last one. You know, we never did that Mr. Ballin video, so we'll just leave with that. We already did the cringe TV commercials. Unless there's another one, and that's a new one. Gen Z memes, yeah. A lot of the stuff we already did. There's only two in here that we haven't done. And that's Mr. Ballin and Popo Medic. So we'll do those two for sure, and then I can always look through my watch later. I do have something left in there. Yo, Tennessee, what's good? I haven't seen you in a minute. How are you? How have you been? I'm good with XMC. I'm good with Edgar. I'm good if you even want to call me by my last name. I am not good with that. That's what people call my dad. That's what like my dad's like coworkers and colleagues and like just other adult people. It's not his family, call him. I'm good with Edgar or Falcon or, you know, Fuckface, douchebag. It doesn't matter, man. Pick one. But yeah, I know, Astro. We didn't do your video. I did your video on my own time. I wasn't live. I saw it. I watched it. Yo, Sikaniska. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good sleep. Thank you for popping in, even if it was for a couple seconds. So do you get what I'm saying now, Astro? You're 100% right. We didn't watch your request on stream. I watched it on my own time. Christian, I'm good, man. Falcon is good. It's just easiest, and it's what I'm used to. If you were to call me that, Tennessee, if you were to call me Eddie, you'd be like the only person ever in the history of time that has ever called me that. It's always been just Edgar. I hate when people shorten my name. Sorry. I don't like Ed. I don't like Eddie. I don't like Edward. Don't bastardize my shit like that. I don't like any of that shit, bro. Just Edgar. Or I just prefer Falcon. I hate to toot my own horn, but I got one of the most badass last names in fucking history, so I just go with the last name. Deborah, what's good? Mysterious, how are you? Sko, how are you? God damn, y'all all came in at the same time, seemingly out of fucking nowhere. What is going on with y'all Saturday that y'all are here? Y'all got nothing to do? Y'all bored? Or are you just like me and you're just like, man, fuck that, I'm not going outside. I don't care if it is my day off. Outside. Don't be ridiculous. Bronson, what's good, man? Yeah, if you want to make it, Astro, feel free. Jeff, what's good? Sleeping and eating. Just woke up. That's like the best Saturday ever. Just woke up, sleeping, eating, doing fuck all. Great. Sam, what's up, man? The only other person I've ever met that had a cooler last name than me was a medic that I met in the Air Force, and her last name was Savage. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I'll give you that. That's a fire ass last name. Her last name was Savage. Legit, legal last name. She didn't change it to that, she was just born with that. I was like, okay. Pretty much on par with me. Elaine, what's good? Camping? Ew. Sko, I appreciate it, even if you were just hanging out for a couple minutes. Wolf. Most of the last names that I've seen that are Wolf has an E at the end. W-O-L-F-E. I've never seen flat out just W-O-L-F. It's always had an E at the end. Elaine, because if you don't know this about me, I fucking hate camping. I despise camping. When I was a kid, I liked camping. I went with my mom, I went with my dad, I did it with the Boy Scouts, I did it with my friends. It was a good time. It was cool. I enjoyed myself. But then I did 4 years in the military, and now I fucking hate camping. Does that make sense? I don't want to camp. I've had my fair share, my motherfucking fill of camping, if you ask me. So, yeah, I'm not going camping voluntarily. It's gonna have to be a fucking zombie apocalypse or a civil war for me to go camping. I did not like the ending to the Crow remake. Man, I haven't even seen it. Had a teacher with the last name Savage. Savage like the DC villain. Vandal Savage? Exactly the same. Yes. S-A-V-A-G-E. That was her last name. I was like, alright girl, yeah. You can wear the crown for a little while. Your last name is officially cooler than mine. At least in my opinion. But with my last name, everyone always had jokes, bro. Like, you can't have a cool last name like me and then go your entire time not being criticized or ridiculed or made fun of. For the longest time, people called me Swallows. Yeah. And then Blue Falcon, I got called that for a little while. That wasn't fun. Yeah. So you would think, like, oh man, fucking great, fantastic last name. It had its ups and downs, really, to be honest, for the most part. All right, so the list is currently being made. Let me tell you what's on it. Vault, Nuclear Vault, M2 Browning step-by-step headspace and timing. Jesus, that'll be a nostalgic video. I haven't done a headspace and timing on any kind of weapons, well, on that particular weapon system in over a decade. And all I would need is like a 5-minute refresher course, and I could do it without blinking. Probably do it with my eyes closed. A couple steps I forgot. Been a while. It's not like riding a bike. You never forget how to ride a bike. There's certain parts of this shit you can forget. We officially live in a simulation. Asmongold clips. I like Asmongold. He's just funny to me. He is also a fan of using logic and critical thinking skills, which I'm a fan of. From what I've seen, fucking idiot. Like some of the other goddamn Twitch streamers that I've seen that game, that sometimes say things out loud. Voice thing messed up? What do you mean? Are you using text to speech to type in chat? Hell no. That shit's awful. I don't give a fuck what device you have. Whether you have an iPhone or Android, does anyone use, except for Vince, does anyone use the talk to text on your device? And I used that shit one time and it was so garbage. I was like, no, I did not say that I was delivering 10 pounds of bananas to the White House. Holy shit! This thing sucks. This product sucks. This technology sucks. I don't use it, bro. The first time I used it, it was trash. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. This is a waste of my time. It never got it right. Ever. It was always saying some fuck shit on my behalf. And I was like, man, nah. I can't do it. It was just a pain to me. You may never forget how to ride a bike, but you do forget how small the damn seat is. Facts. Yeah. And as a dude, I can't imagine what it's like for a chick. It's already uncomfortable for a dude. Especially those small seat bikes. Like, I don't know how these dudes in the Tour de France be fucking sitting on those seats. Those must be, like, comfortable. Super comfortable. Made by, like, fucking DARPA or some shit. Because, yeah, those seats. Then again, those guys like doing steroids, so who knows? They may not even feel it on their ass. I'm just kidding. I don't know if they like doing steroids anymore, but when I was a kid, I feel like those cyclists were like the king of steroids for a while. They were more juiced up than Barry Bonds at one point, and that's fucking crazy. That's saying something. Like, if you ask what kind of steroids Barry Bonds took, there is no kind. He took all of it. Dude had the head the size of a goddamn pit bull. Crazy. Alright. Some unsubscribed clips. Gun gripes. The Kitchen Gunsmith. Iraq Veteran. Quad 8. I'm gonna start with the short videos first. 4248. All right. No, yeah, that's fine. Vince, I got it. And yeah, Vince, if I were you, I wouldn't use that talk to text shit, man. At the very least, I wouldn't use it for the opposite sex. You don't know what's gonna come out of that thing. For real. If autocorrect can fuck me over when texting the opposite sex, I know for a fact that thing can fuck you over. So alright, we're gonna start with Asmon Gold Clips. That's the shortest one. I'm gonna go shortest to longest on this. We officially live in a simulation. Alright. Good old simulations, man. I like the theory and the idea of a simulation because it makes sense to me. And when I put the pieces together, even though it's kind of confusing as shit, it still somewhat makes sense, right? Think of the video game The Sims, right? The Sims. I know it's just code, and I know it's just zeros and ones, but to them, right? Who are we to say that they don't feel like they're real people, right? We feel real, right? You feel very real, don't you? Right? So who's to say that we're not programmed the same fucking way that the Sims are, just in a more advanced way to where we feel real and we can't see the facade, right? Who are we to say that Sims don't feel real in their own environment? We're the ones playing them. What if someone's playing us? And we're none the wiser, and we will never be wiser, right? We'll never see it. Because it's just like, I don't know. I got cold all of a sudden. Or we're not even talking about actual simulations, we're just talking about stupid shit. And that's something that people say whenever they see stupid shit. Yep, it's official, ladies and gentlemen. We're living in a simulation. Ain't no way actual reality could be this fucking dumb. Could be that, but let's see.
Try Dentist formulated TheraBreath mouthwash. It's a better mouthwash, I guarantee it.
It's the
Oh shit.
Joker and Holly show.
Let's give the people what they want.
Like, there's been
Oh, Biden. Oh, Biden. Oh. The gift that keeps on giving. Alright. Yeah, it's just regular videos today, Vince. Oh yeah, that is a classic line by Bo Burnham. If y'all don't know who Bo Burnham is, bro, y'all are missing out. Y'all are really missing out. Y'all are missing out on good music and good comedy. He does both, man. And you might think like, oh man, I don't want to listen to someone sing on stage when they should be telling jokes. Believe you me, it's not like that at all, bro. He's hilarious. He's actually a genius, in my opinion. when it comes to his comedy. It's like Bo Burnham is like one thing that me and my sister have in common. Me and my younger sister, we don't have a lot of shit in common and stuff that we like. We do behave the same, but in stuff that we like, not really. Bo Burnham's one of those things. All right, we officially live in a simulation. Let's see.
Like, there's been, like, everybody said this was AI. Remember yesterday, people said this shit was fake. They said there's no way Biden actually wore a Trump hat.
I saw this, bro. I saw this, and it was like early in the morning, and I was just giggling like a little fucking girl. I was just like, you fucking idiot. Oh, man. It's like, and some people are gonna say, what's the big deal? He just put on a hat. But it's not, that's not the point. The point is that you just don't do that, right? You don't, you know what I'm saying? It's not against the rules, not against the law, right? But it's just like, come on, man, you're on one team and like, that shit makes no sense. That shit makes no sense, man. And it's not the, like, I remember who was the president? Did Reagan almost get assassinated? I think it was Reagan. It was one of the presidents that got assassinated. I heard a story that he got shot, right? And he was on the, they were operating on him or something like that. Actually, no, he was sick. I don't think he got shot. He was sick and they were operating on him in the White House. And he opens his eyes and he's like, he looks at the doctors and he's like, I hope y'all are Democrats, right? And that shit was funny. I forgot what president it was, but that's like a true story from a president. And here goes Biden wearing the hat of his opponent. Like, was it Reagan? Okay. This guy's dumb, man.
Trump hat, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
You want to autograph?
Sure, I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Remember your name?
You know. I've also seen. I see this a lot in football. You see like these rookies or like these brand new players into the NFL that maybe see like their idol or see like their favorite player growing up, and after the game, them and their favorite player, they exchange jerseys, right? Maybe they autograph it for one another, and then they exchange jerseys, and that's the end of it. It's a cool little interaction that you really only ever see in the NFL, maybe in soccer, and stuff like that. But what you don't see is, you know, fucking you're the goddamn middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, and you're going out for pregame stretches with a fucking San Francisco 49ers jersey on. Hello? What are you thinking? What are you doing? You're about to piss off everyone in that stadium. Like,
The guy asks the president of the United States of America, "Do you remember your name?"
I remember my name.
Of course, I remember.
You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're an old part.
I know you would know about that.
What?
You know about that.
I mean, that's the most honest statement Joe has made in a long time. Of course, I'm an old guy. You'd know about that. You're an old fella too. That seems like a regular, normal interaction
Stop being old.
between two old fuckers.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer. Huh?
A young timer.
You know, he reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Well, I'm the only one.
He said, "You remind me of one of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood." Really? There was guys in your neighborhood? You mean other people and children? That's crazy. Yeah, I experienced the same thing, Joe. It's called childhood.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
Bro, you can dislike him as a president, but you can't dislike this dude as a person. Oh my god. He's just so lost. You want my autograph? Hell no, I don't want your autograph. I don't know who the fuck you are, man. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Oh, it's so good.
Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now. Huh?
Just remember, no eating dogs and cats.
Hey, they're good.
What? Did Joe Biden say that in response to what Donald Trump said during the debate? I forget what place. He's like, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're fucking frying them up and everything. Seeing it, it's fucking crazy. CNN's gonna say it's not happening, but believe me, folks, it's happening. Right? Remember that when he said that? And maybe that's like a direct response from Joe Biden to. Oh man.
Hey, they're good. Thank you. They're good. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I hope you like the pizza.
Huh?
You guys picked the place to get. I don't know where it's not easy.
Am I the only person? If he was always like this was fucking funny.
Yeah.
Is that you couldn't even script some shit this good. And then
Yeah.
he goes and tells them not to eat dogs and cats. Biden is content. Well, you know, one time Barack Obama, whenever Biden was the vice president, said to never underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up. Never underestimate.
Seriously, never underestimate this man's ability to fuck something up. And that one clip of him singing happy birthday to that one lady and he forgets her name in the middle of singing happy birthday and he just blows right past her name like she doesn't fucking exist is the pinnacle of Joe Biden comedic content. Man, that show's so funny, I almost cried. Ah.
There he goes.
No eating dogs and cats.
Hey, they're good.
My man said, hey, they're good. I wouldn't know. I've never eaten dogs and cats before. That's never been on my menu. And I've never been anywhere where that was on the menu. Dogs and cats. Now, I wonder if someone fed me dog or cat and didn't tell me what it was, they just brought out a plate of food that smelled good. I wonder if I would know what I was eating while I was eating it. Because again, I've never had it, so maybe it tastes different. Maybe it has a different texture. Maybe it chews different. Maybe it looks different. I don't know. Never had it. I don't plan on it. I don't really like cats, but I don't hate them enough to eat them, and I love dogs, so yeah, there's that. Plenty of food to eat besides those fucking things. I don't even think the starving kids in Africa are eating dogs and cats. They're eating our dogs. They're eating our cats. It's terrible, people. Poor little that poor little Yorkie. He didn't even see it coming. He didn't even see it coming, folks. It was brutal. Absolutely brutal. It was the most brutal thing I've ever seen. I've ever heard. Yeah, I didn't really know what the fuck Donald was talking about there. I was just like, damn. They're eating the dogs and the cats. That's crazy. Where does this madness stop, Donald? Make it stop. You vote for me, I'll stop people from eating the dogs and the cats. Believe me, I'll get it done by tomorrow. Give me 48 hours, folks. I'll have dogs and cats in every home in America. There will be no strays under my presidency. No, sir. Okay. All right. Whatever either of y'all say, man, you and Kamala, it's fucking crazy. All right. I've had squirrel. I don't think I've ever had. Well, no. I've had snake. I've had alligator. I've had rabbit. I've had deer. Snail. Yeah, I can't really think of anything else, man. What are some like common animals that we see often that you can't eat? Like, you can't eat a raccoon, can you? That probably wouldn't be good, right? Raccoon. Imagine you actually win against a honey badger. I wonder what a honey badger tastes like. But you're not gonna win against a honey badger, so I don't think there's ever been anyone that's tasted a honey badger. You got to win that 1v1. I don't think anybody can, so I think he's safe. Groundhog, yeah, those types I've never eaten that. Groundhog, raccoons, possum, probably full of parasites. Yeah, you'd have to cook that for like a hot fucking minute. What about skunk? Can you eat skunk? I'm assuming that you could eat just about anything. Whether it's good for you, that's a different debate. Whether it tastes good, that's also a different debate. But I'm assuming that with fire, you can cook and eat just about anything, correct? What happens afterwards, that's another story. No, I was just making fun of it because it's just hilarious. You never hear that often, Elaine. First off, I didn't know that dogs and cats were being eaten, and that's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that during a presidential debate. They're in the dogs. They're in the cats. You need to hide your dogs, hide your cats. They're eating them out here. So, I don't know. That show's just funny to me. That's just funny to me, man. The ingenuity. Really. Out of all the things that I could tell someone to get them to vote for me, you gotta throw in some flair. You gotta throw in some spice. And on top of lower taxes and lower prices on groceries, I'm gonna do something about this fucking dog and cat eating problem. Yep, you betcha. All you gotta do is vote for me. It's savage. Okay. All right. Gun gripes. Episode 4. All right. That's episode 4, right? The kitchen gunsmith. All right.
Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
This guy's gonna educate, hopefully.
Fantastic to be officially part of the Transformers franchise.
Ah, yes.
The character I play is Orion Pax.
September 20th, I think. Yeah, I think I might go see this in theaters, bro. I'm so excited for this. And I'm so glad that it's animated and that it's not live action, to be honest. We've seen enough live action Transformers. I'm excited.
We got another gun gripe, don't we, Barry?
We sure do.
This is number 4.
This one is called kitchen gunsmithing.
I got a gripe already. Really. Is that a shotgun? Is that a pink shotgun? I think so. Right here. That's my only gripe. That's ridiculous, man. No self-respecting man would purchase that. And I mean, ladies, does everything have to be pink? I don't think so. I don't think that gun's ever gonna leave the shelf because of the color.
People who are totally unqualified to do anything with a gun, and they just grab a gun up and start cutting on it with a hacksaw or whatever they need to do. Here's an example of
oh, this is his gripes. He's like, all you motherfuckers in your garage that be doing all kinds of dumb shit to your weapon, Jesus Christ, you're pissing me off. I think that's what this is here. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about gunsmithing, so this is gonna be educational more so than anything else for me. Got an F2000 right here in the background.
home camo job. Look at this tape. It's not even wrapped properly. Loose. Look at this. I mean, this is okay, but this is an example of even when you try to do a job like that, you just mess it up. They could have made this a lot better. Anyway, this is custom, more like
I guess it's just preference, bro. But I didn't put any camo on my weapon when I was in the service, but I had a couple of friends that did. And their camo wasn't any kind of sticker or decal or anything like that. It was different. It was like they would cut different patterns, on a piece of cardboard paper or something like that, and they would take different colors of spray paint. So like green, tan, different variations of those green and tan, and they would just spray paint their. And when it came time to turn these bitches back into the arms room, you either had to try your best to take the paint off or just fucking leave it. They didn't really give a shit. Those are combat weapons, so. But, yeah, that was a poor job, really. I guess it never really... I'm not really a camo on my weapon kind of guy, to be honest. Never really... Yeah, you're deer hunters and shit like that. You're hunters out there? Yeah, maybe. But, yeah, not so much for me.
Kitchen customizing.
Absolutely.
Now, we get this happening all the time, too. We get revolvers in here with grips taped on them. We get revolver grips built up with some kind of putty.
This guy's like, stop selling me horse shit.
This is your classic kitchen fix on a single barrel. When your lug breaks off to hold your forend on, you just grab up.
Bro, is that electrical tape that's like holding that bitch together? I won't even fire that.
Adds electrical tape and start wrapping on it.
Yep.
This is an old Ivory Johnson. It's a good old gun, but the lug is broken off under here, so the former owner just taped it on. Wonderful.
Man, the only way I would use some shit like that is if I was in a situation like, man, Fallout, like a wasteland. Like, there's nothing left, and you fucking use what you can get your hands on. That's the only way I'm firing that gun. Or at least feeling safe firing that weapon. If it has electrical tape on it, bro, I don't want to touch it.
Now, here is a real example.
Get ready.
This is not a joke. Eric and I did not put this together for this video. We don't do that. This is a gun gripe.
He's like, you can't make this up.
Here's a customized
Was that a 190?
Let's be sure this thing is a weapon of mass destruction is safe. Okay. They come in here. They got a scope mounted with one Weaver ring. One Weaver ring. This would be fine if they knew how to put the ring on. This little tail here is supposed to go in that slot. They didn't have sense enough to know that, so they just laid the ring on top and tightened it down. Well, it's loose.
And then what'd they do to shimmy, Barry?
Oh my god, bro. You did the equivalent of... You did the equivalent of what people do when they have an uneven table and they just stick like a fucking... like a notebook. Or maybe the Bible. I don't know, man. Like a book or something. Or like a magazine. Or like a stack of Post-it notes underneath it to make the table even. That's what you did here, but in reverse, and it looks like you used either a toothpick that you split in half or a chopstick. My man, and what's going to happen when you fire this weapon? I know it's a Winchester, but bro, this thing still has recoil. What's going to happen to your sight picture? What's going to happen to your zero? Gone. Man, you zero this weapon, you fire it, your zero's gone. because the recoil is gonna, man, yeah, he probably didn't. Some of these people probably don't know any better, or probably don't even give a shit, or probably don't know that the internet exists and there's people online that can teach you how to actually do this stuff. That's the problem with a lot of people, bro. They forget the internet exists and the internet has answers to everything.
They shove toothpicks and wood chips under
I
it
knew it was fucking
to tighten this up. If this ring had been applied properly, this would probably have worked for a 22.
And what does it do now?
Well, the elevation is slightly
Look at that.
out of kilter. Not only that, you can turn it like that if you want to, or you turn it back like this if you want to.
Even if you manage to zero this weapon, if you drop it, your zero's gone. If you fire it, your zero's gone. If you sling it and it's on your back, your zero's gone. If you run with it, your zero is gone. One would even beg the question, why mount the scope on there in the first place if you're not going to do it correctly? Because imagine this guy has to zero like before he shoots this weapon every single time. Whoever had this weapon. Well, now this guy has this weapon. Good luck selling this weapon. Unless you're going to fix it.
So I don't think this is going to be very accurate.
Not at all. Which is probably the reason it came in here in the first place, Barry.
I would love to see somebody shooting at a squirrel with this, because the squirrel would just be laughing and running. Now, they don't have a sling, so instead of drilling it here, where it's supposed to go, which would be difficult if you don't have some kind of fixture to put it in, they take the butt plate off and screw the swivel right into the butt plate.
No.
And then what do we have as a sling, Barry? Shoelace?
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that, Jade. That's redonkulous. That's absurd, actually. No, but...
This is probably a shoelace that was no longer good for...
Wow, I didn't even notice that. And yep, that's probably a shoelace. Or it could be the one drawstring that's on the hood of your hoodie. Or the drawstring of some sweatpants. You're damn right. Yeah. I mean, hey, man.
For tying your shoes. So they made a rifle sling out of it. So for their front swivel, instead of getting the proper tube-mounted ring for the sling swivel, they get one off of a Marlin 336 magazine tube and put it right on the barrel, anywhere they want to put it. Now this is a prime example. We get this stuff in here all the time. Look at this thing. If you decide...
I mean, dude, yeah, this thing is pretty awful, right? But if you take the scope off, and someone's breaking into your house and you're already aimed at the door as soon as they walk in, this can still kill a man. So, I mean, it's shit, but it'll still do the job if it absolutely has to. Wouldn't really use this for home defense, but if you had to, you could still kill a man with this.
Look at this thing.
Not Jade, Juke. I'm sorry. I read that wrong. I'm like really far away and my screen's dim. Juke, not Jade. Jesus.
If you decide to do home gunsmithing, be sure that it's within your capabilities and to do the best job you can. What is really disturbing to me is this is the best of someone's ability. How would you like this person working on your car or something?
I mean, to my knowledge, the gun still fires, and still fires properly. The only thing that's stupid about it is the sling and the scope. Right? So, you take the sling off and the scope, and it just looks normal. Really. Not too much anything to gripe about.
Something else at your house. I mean, this is Australian bush all the way. I mean, this is it. An Australian in a bush don't even do this.
Yeah. That's not good. If I were to get into gunsmithing, I would this is what I do with everything. It's just the way that I am. If I were to get into gunsmithing, I would do probably about like 1 to 200 hours worth of research before I even ever picked up a tool. Probably. I don't know if that's the good way to go, but that's how I approach just about everything, especially if it's a problem or something needs to be solved. I will do a shit ton of research and I will look at it from every angle and fucking read and watch videos and learn until I ever even take the first step to do anything. Man, I think that's the problem with a lot of these people. They don't know shit, they don't look up shit, they just start doing stuff. And it doesn't turn out good, unfortunately. Okay. All right. A video about my favorite weapon system. Yeah. Fun, man. Fun. I used to do this all the time. This video that you guys are about to see is what I had to do before every single mission. Man, he's got this thing mounted on a tripod. I didn't have a tripod, man. I just had like one little fucking... I just had one long bolt that attached to the bottom. It went into the turret and it locked with a pin. That's it. I had no tripod, but I used to have to do this every single time before every single mission. It's a task. And some of you are asking, why do you have to do this? You ask. Long story short, headspace and timing, the procedure for the headspace and timing for this weapon. Basically, you do it, it prevents this thing from blowing up in your face. And you do not want this thing to blow up in your face. This is a lot of metal and steel, small little bolts, pins, small parts. This thing blows up, it'd probably rip your face off, actually. Depending on which way the blast goes, but what headspace and timing is for, man, to keep these things from blowing up in your fucking face. To making sure that the barrel is far enough away, has a far enough threshold from the weapon system itself, and the weapon system itself has a far enough threshold between the barrel and this thing right here. If he explains it, you'll hear it, but
set headspace and timing on a caliber.
Why are we watching this again? Actually, now that I think about it, any of you plan on working with 50s in the next 2.5, 3 years? If not, then y'all probably don't need to know this. But, I mean, we're here, so might as well.
50 machine gun within 8 minutes.
You're going to come up to the weapon. You're going to open the feature.
And clear the weapon.
Grab your barrel.
The correct bolt to align barrel locking spring lug.
You're going to turn it in. Hear the clicks. Once it reaches the end, you click twice back. There. 2 clicks back. And now you open up your headspace. To ensure the firing pin is retracted at the end, you're going to charge the weapon. And you're going to let the bolt go forward, but you're going to ride the bolt forward without so you won't damage any of the weapon. So make sure the bolt stays locked forward. You grab your headspace gauge with your go side. You're going to retract at least 1/16.
They still look the same.
From the 1/16
Nothing hasn't changed.
timing block. Insert the go. Right here. If the go gauge does not go inside, you'll have to...
You have to go back and you have to twist your barrel, right? So these gauges, you're not going to be able to see this very good, guys, just because the camera angle and the camera's moving a lot. There's a slot in there and you have a gauge. If that gauge doesn't fit in that slot, you have to twist your barrel in reverse 1 click. And you have to try the gauge again, make sure it fits in this area. If it doesn't fit, you have to turn back 1 more click. You have to continue to do this until the gauge fits, right? That's the headspace, and then he'll do the timing last.
Turn the barrel counterclockwise.
Go counterclockwise. Yeah.
Then you'll attempt to put the go.
And in order to turn the barrel, you have to semi-push the bolt of this back, because you can't turn that if the bolt is all the way forward. You're going to have resistance. You have to pull the bolt back just a hair to get that turn. You pull too far, it's too much. If you don't pull, and if you pull too short, it's still not enough. It's like a certain window that you have to have there in order to turn it. The more you do this, bro, the easier it gets. And he said within 8 minutes, that's about the right time. 8 minutes or less is how long it should take you to run the headspace and timing on your 50.
Back inside. Remember separating 160.
And this is entirely all by yourself too. You should be able to do this all by yourself. As a 50 cal gunner, as a gunner period, you should be able to do this by yourself. You should be able to carry this by yourself. You should be able to take it apart by yourself, clean it, and put it back together by yourself. I do understand that you have an assistant gunner when you're on missions, but all of this is a one-man job. You might think it's not, it is.
An inch from the front block. The go gauge should go to the ring, and once it goes to the ring, that's when you'll know you'll have a good. And then you'll switch it to the no-go side.
Yes, you carry this by yourself, man. Before missions. So we don't leave these weapons on the trucks, guys. Ever. We do not leave our weapons unsecure at all whatsoever for any fucking reason. So when we go on mission, before we go on mission, we go to the arms room. I pull the 50 out of the arms room. I pull the 50, I pull the barrel, and my truck already has all the ammo in it. All I need is this big bitch. I pull it, I carry it, barrel separate from everything else, barrel separate from the weapon system. I carry these 2 big bitches from the arms room to the truck. I go into the truck, I lift the 50 up into the turret, I mount the 50, and then that's when I do the headspace and timing gauge. I don't do my headspace and timing unless the gun is actually mounted onto something, because then it's just a pain in the ass, man. It's like tying your shoes before putting them on. It's kind of stupid. You want to have it mounted before you start this headspacing nonsense. And see, for this guy, he has it on a tripod. You don't just lay this bitch on the ground and do headspace. It's hard.
And no-go check should not go in. If it does go in, then you have a bad fit. But this is a go right here.
And then when you get back from mission, you take the 50 cal off and you carry that bitch back to the arms room. It goes in the arms room. They lock the arms room, and that's it. You do not leave these weapons unsecure. They're too big. They're too powerful. They cost too much money to just be left outside on a truck where a local national or a fucking an Afghan employee that works on the military installation sees it and can quite possibly take it or fuck with it, or I don't know, man, do some shit. It's like, you know.
And now headspace is now set. So moving on, you'll just move straight into setting your timing.
This is the timing.
So
I believe for the timing, if I remember, I don't remember correctly for the timing. Don't you take the back plate off? I can't remember.
First, you put in your fire gauge onto the barrel bevel facing towards the barrel. Lock it in place, and then you'll attempt to fire the weapon.
You're going to fire the weapon.
Weapon should not fire. You'll remove it. You pull the back plate out.
Pull the back plate
turn
out.
It one click to...
There's a mechanism in there. It's like a little dial, right? So you do your barrel first, which is your headspace. You don't want your barrel to be completely flush with the what. That's how you get fuck ups, bro. You don't want it completely flush. You want like some space in there. That's what the headspace is for. That's the barrel turning, and that's the turning of the barrel. With this, you remove the back plate. There's like a little dial in there. You're going to see a lot of mechanisms. And at the very top, there's a little dial, and you have to turn that dial 1 click. You turn the dial 1 click, you put the base plate back on, you take your timing gauge, you put it back where it goes, and you try to fire. If it doesn't fire, you take the back plate back off. You turn the dial, you put the back plate back on, you put the thing in, you try to fire,
If it fires and you hear a click, your timing is good. Your timing is done. Your headspace is done. Now, load your ammo, rock it back, put a round into the fucking, get ready to shoot it. And that's it. You're good. And it's great.
Right. Or clockwise. Put this back on.
Yo, Stealth, what's going on, man? And yeah, man, you must haven't been here in a while because I lost a lot of weight a long time ago. And I never gained it back. Hold on, I missed something. God damn it. Yo, Alex, what's good, man? Yo, Kimberly, how are you? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. And yeah, I know. Some of y'all haven't been here in a while. I've been this skinny for a minute now. It was like 4 years ago that I weighed like 215 pounds. It was crazy. And, well, so. I don't like, I used to look sickly skinny. Now I just look normal skinny. It's not, it used to be a problem back in the day, but to everyone that has popped in recently in the past couple of minutes, welcome. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Put your fire gauge back. Label facing towards the barrel. Attempt to fire. And you'll continue repeating the process until you'll hear the weapon fire. Always remembering.
No, that's 100% wrong, actually. M249 is a smaller version of the M240. M240 would be a smaller version of the 50 cal. Not the 249 fires 5.56, 240 fires 7.62. This is 50 BMG. So as far as caliber, 7.62 would be closer to this than anything else. And the 240 is big, bro. The 240 is about just as long as the 50. Whereas the 249 is not. Close in weight to the 240. Not caliber. I think the 249 might have a slightly faster fire rate than the 240. I can't remember the fire rate for the 50, but yeah, no. I'd be more inclined to compare the 240 closer to the 50 than the 249. You can't carry this bitch, man. Hell, to compare this bitch to the 240 would be a stretch too, because the 240 you can carry. My first deployment, there was someone in my squad that carried the 240. And there was also someone that carried the 249. You can't carry this bitch on mission. I don't give a fuck who you are. Jocko Willink himself couldn't carry this bitch on mission. This is a stationary weapon, either on a vehicle or on a tripod, or in a fortified position. That's the really big difference, really. But
to pull the fire gauge out before you pull the back plate off. But always making sure the fire gauge is inside when you're attempting to fire the weapon.
There you go.
Now the weapon
timing's
fired.
Done.
Now that that's happened, I will remove this gauge, set the feeder paw down, and you will go back to the back plate and you will return it 2 clicks the same direction you were going.
I don't remember if I did the extra 2 clicks after doing the timing. To be honest, I can't remember. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. So foggy.
Put this back in with the feeder paw and sharing this down so you don't damage it. You're gonna
starting to grow the beard back, I see, huh? Yeah, I don't really have a choice, man. Unless I shave every day, I'm not gonna look like I did a week ago. In order for me to consistently look like I did a couple of days ago, I have to shave every day. Every single day. Bro, this is like 2 or 3, this is like 48 hours right here. 48, almost 72 hours of not shaving. I don't really have a choice, bro. It's just like, it just goes.
You're then going to put the no-go side in, double facing in, attempt to fire the weapon, it should not fire, and then you'll put the fire side in.
And it should fire.
Time stop at this moment.
Okay, so that's the go in. So insert that, and it should fit.
All the way to the ring.
All the way to the ring. That's a go.
Dude, and the best part is that I had my own headspace and timing gauge. My arm sergeant was kind of a D-bag. Really. Not really. My first arm sergeant, he was cool, but he never let me he would never let me keep the headspace and timing gauge. That was one thing. I had to turn it in when I turned in the 50 cal, and I didn't like doing that. I don't. And you're probably thinking, well, it's more secure inside of the arms room than it is just chilling inside of your backpack. Wrong. False. I like to have that stuff. I don't lose stuff. Except for the one time that I misplaced a pair of thermals, but that's neither here nor there. I don't lose shit, right? And I would just much rather have that, because what if he gives it to somebody else and I need it that day, right? And there weren't that many. So what I did is I waited till we went on mission, and we went to some random fob. And while they were there, they had their arms room open, and they were doing inventory or some shit on ammo or fucking something. Matter of fact, I think they were doing boresight on their weapons. And that's a whole nother fucking animal of a thing right there when it comes to boresight. They were doing that, and I walked into the arms room, and I was just talking to people, and I was just looking around, and I saw an extra headspace and timing gauge sitting on the desk, and I fucking snatched it, and I took it, and I kept it forever. And so every time I went to the arms room, he's like, all right, here's your headspace and timing. I was like, I'm good. I got mine. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm good. I already got it. He's like, how'd you get it? I was like, I can't tell you. He's like, what if I order you to tell you? He was like, what if I order you to tell me? I was like, and then I'll lie. Because I'll get in trouble if I tell you how I got it. He's like, I guess that's fair enough, man. Sure. Okay. Have a good day. Enjoy the gun. Thanks, man. Oh, is that considered manual labor? What is what considered manual labor? I mean, technically, if you work with computers, isn't that technically manual labor? The definition of manual labor is work with your hands. No one really ever specified the type of labor it has to be. So, I mean, technically, if you sit in the office all day typing in information into a fucking computer, technically you're doing manual labor. It's your hands, right? You're working with your hands. Isn't that the definition? But no, I'm just kidding. No. Manual labor kind of requires you to be outside for the most part. Overall, broad definition.
Then you change to the no-go side. No-go in should not go. So that will tell you your headspace is set.
And then now we can do the timing part. The timing is usually the thinner one.
Yes.
And the no-go on the timing is the thicker one. So when you're putting it in, you don't want to put it right there, with the bevel facing towards the barrel.
So will the weapon fire? So when you hear the click, you know the weapon is timed, and then charge the weapon. Use the no-go gauge. Weapon should not fire. And then pull it.
Guys, just remember, if for some reason you ever find yourself behind this weapon system, this is, so like, here's another thing when it comes to this weapon system. You know how, like, if someone hands you a gun, what do? Clear it. Put it on safe. Right? Always. You clear it. You make sure, put it on safe. Okay? With this weapon system, if someone says, hey, come over here, you can shoot my 50. The very first thing I'm asking, did you headspace and time it? Because if you didn't headspace and time it, I'm not shooting it. I'm not. Man, prime example, my first deployment, when I was deployed, we ran this area of Afghanistan. The name of the fob was Fob Joyce. We were in the Kunar province. We were very, very close to the border of Iran, right? And somewhere during the middle of our deployment, our chain of command decided that they wanted 1st Battalion and 2nd Battalion in the same province. So we had to pick up from the Kunar province and move to the Wardak province, right? That was the reason. So when we're getting ready to leave, we're getting replaced by the 101st Airborne out of Fort Campbell National Guard unit, right? And they get there thinking they're hot shit. We're here because y'all can't control this area. First off, fuck you. We're superior to you. We're airborne infantry, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. And they just come in talking mad shit, all cocky, like we're taking over for you because y'all can't get the job done and blah, blah, blah. And they know fuck all, bro. They know fuck all. Told some of y'all this story before. I was like, so how was NTC? And they were like, what is NTC? I was like, it's that one place in California, in Fort Irwin, that we all go to for combat training before we deploy. Did you go? I don't know what that is, man. I've never been to Cali before. So you didn't do combat training? I mean, we went to the field. Oh, okay, cool. Right. Fantastic. Let me show you how ECPs work. What is an ECP? It's an entry control point, man. What are they teaching you? Right? And then so I bring one of these little fuckers on mission. And I'm like, come on, man. We're going on mission 30 minutes early. Why? Because we need to do the headspace and timing on the 50 because we're running an ECP. He's like, nah, man, you go ahead. I'll catch up with you. I was like, okay, fine. I get there. I wait on this bastard to get there. All right, man, now that we're here, I'm going to show you the headspace and timing on this 50 cal. The what? The headspace and timing on the 50 cal? But we have to do that before we fire it. If we have to fire it, that has to happen first. And he's like, nah, man, we don't have to do that. We don't do that. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He's like, we didn't do that at my unit. I was like, did you go to the range? He's like, yeah. I was like, what did y'all shoot? He's like, I shot my M16. A couple of my friends shot M4s. I was like, did you shoot 50s? Did you shoot Mark 19s? You shoot AT4s? Nah, man, we didn't do any of that. And y'all are replacing us because we're fucking up? Fuck you. You're an idiot. Long story short, bro, we tried to teach them. They weren't having it. We tried to learn them some things. They said, fuck you. We tried to give them wisdom and knowledge. They told us to get fucked. So guess what? We left. Guess what happened? Somebody in that unit, a 50 cal blew up in their face. They had to get sent home. Fucked them up all here, the face, all that shit. Almost died. And then this very same unit lost like 8 people, including their first sergeant. But y'all were replacing us because we couldn't control the area, huh? That shit just like, it made me sad that they lost people, but it was also funny because it was just like, that's what you get for talking shit. And that's what you get for being ignorant. And that's what you get for thinking you fucking know everything. Guess what? You died. Idiot. Like, people like that, bro. They exist all up and down in the fucking military, dude. And it's just like, whatever. So some people you just can't help.
Pull it out again. And this is how you adjust your timing.
Point with current.
To the that way. So clockwise. Roger.
Okay, we're just gonna. That was good. Oh yes, AT4 is a rocket launcher. It is the only one in the service that I got to fire. I didn't get to fire a javelin or any of that cool shit. We had laws, but we didn't have any laws. Most of the infantry dudes I saw had laws and AT4s. We just had AT4s, and we only had one AT4 per truck. One AT4 per truck, and if we could manage to get our hands on an RPG from either a local national or ANA, then they didn't tell us we couldn't, so we had to go ahead to shoot RPGs if we got our hands on them. We had a sergeant that got his hands on an RPG and fired that bitch off during a firefight. He had already popped off with AT4s. His truck didn't have any more AT4s. He took our truck's AT4. No other truck was willing to give him their AT4, so he just found a fucking local ANA guy that had an RPG on his back that was doing nothing. And he's like, I'm taking your RPG. He's like, okay. He fired it. It was great. I don't think there is a rule that says we can't shoot the enemy's weaponry. So if I ever got my hands on an enemy weapon, you best believe I would use it against the enemy. That's free ammo. And that's a free weapon. Right? So, granted, eventually I'd probably have to turn it in if I decided to bring it back with me. But Yeah, I guess I was just hazy on that rule, really. But they didn't say we couldn't. So in the military, if they don't say that you can't, that means you can. That's just the logic that we use as soldiers in the military. You better be clear with your instruction, because if you don't tell me I can't, I'm gonna. So, all right. Don't National Guard units have more time to prepare for shit? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't think they have any time to prepare for anything. Really. They're not. I don't know. They do it once a week. They do it once a month for a weekend. As opposed to active duty does it every day of every week, all year. And so there's definitely going to be some differences in effectiveness. But ignorance is no excuse. That's just it. I can understand if you get put into a position of being non-effective. You catch a stray in the ass cheek or in the leg, right? You're kind of ineffective at the moment. But if you're putting yourself in a dumb position on purpose to be ineffective in the future, then fuck you. I don't want to fight next to you. You're an idiot. And I'm so glad that I didn't have to spend any more time than what I did with those guys when I was over there, because that was just unbearable. It was like teaching children how to navigate a jungle gym for the first time, is what it felt like. Man, and I was just like, good God, man. That's crazy that they would send y'all to this country like this. Like this. It's all right. Do they allow personnel to take trophies? Fuck no, bro. You get in trouble. Can't do that. Can't do that. You take trophies, you're getting court-martialed. You're not even getting Article 15. You're just getting court-martialed. The military doesn't fuck around with that, man. At least our military doesn't fuck around with that. I can't say the same for other fucking militaries, because it just seems, for some reason, given my experience in the military and my friends' experience in the military and just other people's experience in the military, that it just, for some reason, it feels like other countries can do whatever the fuck they want when it comes to combat, but when it comes to being an American soldier, you got your hands tied behind your back, and you can only take this step if this prerequisite is met. You can only go here if this prerequisite is met. You can only shoot back if you get shot at first. You can only do this if that happens. You can't do this if this happens. And it's just like, yo, what are we doing? Are we fighting a war, or are we just finger popping our buttholes every single day for no goddamn reason, doing nothing, dying for no fucking reason? We don't have to. What's going on here? That's just what it feels like. Just from my perspective. It just, for some reason, when we go to war with somebody, they can decapitate us no problem, and it's no big fucking deal. But if we curse at them, or I don't know, run them off the road, or I don't know, tell them to get the fuck back or they're gonna get a goddamn bullet in their fucking head, all of a sudden we're fucking monsters. Never made any sense to me. I don't understand. For some reason, it just feels like the rest of the world is playing by a different set of rules when it comes to combat than America. And I don't like it. It gets us killed for stupid reasons. All right. Bad electrician. Unsubscribe clips. Alright, unsubscribed clips, and this is with Fat Electrician, and this is titled The Reality of Being the Best Fighter Pilot in World War II. Well, the reality of being the best fighter pilot is there's a slight chance that because of your exploits and your achievements, they'll remove you from your fucking plane and start making you go to Washington and the goddamn Pentagon and Capitol Hill and shake hands and take pictures and kiss babies, and now you can no longer do the job that you love to do because you're the best at it, and the military's gonna use you as a fucking poster child for their recruitment. And that's not fun, man. It's just not for anyone. It's never been fun for anyone, man. With great awards and great achievements come a whole bunch of unnecessary responsibilities that you don't want to fucking do, man. But let's see, that might not be the case.
This bathroom's so musty.
I don't see how the whole thing looks like it's made of porcelain. Unless your shits are that gnarly, lady.
Dick Bong is the most well-documented person that I've...
And I love that his name is Dick Bong. That just adds to it. That just adds to the legend.
...ever researched. Like, every thing that Dick Bong did is, like, highly fucking recorded. It's insane how much documentation this guy has for his record, because he was the ace of aces when they were like...
Kadena, what's going on, man? How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing good. There's a lot of you that have showed up today that I haven't seen in a long time. What's good?
Like, it wasn't like Vietnam or GWAT. Like, it was beneficial to record everything and tell everybody about it. So, like, everything he did was super ultra fucking recorded. Anyways,
Damn, I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because if everything I did when I was deployed was super recorded, I definitely would be in jail. Still. So...
Kenny wrote that he was concerned that if Bong ever realized that the planes that he was shooting down had people in them, he would lose his heart and wouldn't be able to do it anymore. And that was like...
Who do you think was flying the planes?
Years prior. And then he went, shot down 40 confirmed enemies. And like, as he was on his way back after downing 40 enemies, he... like, on the way home, witnessed another fighter pilot shoot down an enemy, and he, like, saw the dead body of the pilot in the Japanese Zero, and he, like, went off and fucking puked in the bushes because he realized that he had killed 40 people. It was, like, super sad. I didn't know.
Damn, yeah, dude, that's like, that's a real thing, man. It is. And... it happens with pilots, but you know who it's most prevalent with, man? The type of soldier that I could see this happening to the absolute most? C-130 pilots. C-130 pilots. C-17 pilots. And drone Predator pilots. Bro, because they're behind a... not the ones in the C-17s and the C-130s, but at least the one in the Reaper drone. Bro, he's somewhere in fucking Colorado in a fucking Connex on a computer with a joystick, right? And he's just killing people, right? In his mind, he might not think he's killing people because he can't actually see it, bro. He's like miles in the sky. All he can see is just destruction. But I guarantee if he were to actually see face to face the carnage that he is wreaking with his weapon system, it would make him feel a certain kind of way. It really would. It's one thing to shoot at someone, right? And you know that your bullet hits them and you no longer see them anymore. They're probably on the ground behind a rock or a tree or like on the other side of a mountain. You can't really see them. So in your head, you're just like, I just shot at a human being. Maybe I hit him, maybe I didn't, right? And you don't really feel any kind of way about that until you actually see the person that you shot. You actually see what you just did. You actually confront the action that you just took, right? And you see this dude's mangled body, or maybe like his head's gone, or maybe there's like a gigantic hole in his chest, right? Doesn't matter what kind of person you are, how hardcore you think you are, that shit fucks with your mentality, man. It fucks with your brain. It's one thing to do it from far away. It's another thing to actually see it up close and see the reality of your actions and the reality of what you're doing and the reality of combat. Sometimes the fog of war, it's easy to miss, it's easy to ignore, and it's easy to put in the back of your mind. But the second it comes to the very front of your brain and you see it for what it is, it fucks with your psyche in a weird way.
Oh shit! He didn't know he didn't know there were people in the planes.
It wasn't that he didn't know that they were people.
He didn't have to.
It's just that you compartmentalize these things, man. You do. You compartmentalize these things. In the back of his head, it's not people flying these planes. He's just shooting planes. He's not shooting people. That's the way his brain's working. He's not shooting people. He's shooting planes. And when the reality said, you're going to lie to yourself a lot, man. Your brain lies to itself. You lie to yourself. Whether it be in conflict, whether it be in the midst of chaos, whether it be in the midst of a very, very chaotic event, right? Your brain is going to shut down necessary portions that it's going to need in order to be successful and help you survive, right? So your brain is going to blur out those dead bodies. Your brain is going to blur out the fact that you're taking life. All you see is that plane. That's just it. I know how that feels. I know how that goes.
Like,
personify
in his mind, it was literally just like he just wanted to be the best.
Like, but there were several times, man, when I was deployed that I know for an absolute fact I shot at children, but in the back of my head they were adults. In the back of my head they were fully grown adult fighting males in my head. But I know for absolute fact, I sent rounds downrange at children, man, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, because they were fucking shooting at us, man. But in my head, when I'm returning fire, I'm not thinking in the moment I'm shooting at a kid. In my head, I'm lying to myself and telling myself that I'm shooting at a full-grown man, because I don't want to kill children. You know what I mean? That's like, no one wants to do that. You know what I'm saying? So like, you lie to yourself about these things. You try to change your own perception of your own reality in the moment so you can cope with the awfulness that's happening.
Pilot, and he was going out there outflying people. Like it was well known that he wasn't good at shooting. Like he couldn't shoot at a good distance, but he would get so close to the enemy planes that it was like point blank range, and he would shoot them down. And then he like witnessed somebody else shoot somebody down and like saw the aftermath, and like it like hit him that like he had actually killed 40 people, and he had like went off and fucking puked in the bushes after the fact, that he had became the ace of aces, the dude that shot down more than anybody else. And it finally hit him that like it wasn't just objectives, it wasn't just winning a game. He had actually killed 40 people.
Like it's
and
real.
It was like super hard on him, and he fucking went and puked in the bushes, and he got sent home. It's kind of fucking sad.
Well, it's like kind of Ender Games. If you haven't read Ender Games, it's that same ideology.
Ender's Game?
Yeah. You like he does.
I think that's a movie. He said red, so it must have been a book before it was a movie. But
doesn't know. Spoilers alert. The game book's fucking 30 years old at this point. It is a child that is brought up to be a general, and then he is playing games. And once he finds out, like all the adults celebrate that last victory in the video game, and then he's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I won!" And they're like, "You just saved
humanity."
This wasn't actual video games. This was or a simulation. This was actually
you were controlling people the whole time. Have you ever read that book? So like he was raised,
that really sucks if you're going for achievements.
He was raised from the age of a child, playing a video game of like Command and Conquer, basically a Command and Conquer video game, except he found out that somewhere along the line it quit being a video game and a simulation, and he never realized it, but he was actually controlling real life troops on the ground.
Wow, I did not know that that's what that movie was about. Maybe had I known what it was about, I would have watched it, because Ender's Game is not just, man, I'm telling you, man, that's a recent movie, like mid-2000s. Mid-2000s, early 2000s, something like. I remember seeing a trailer for it, Ender's Game, and I remember the name. Had I known that's what it was about, I would have watched it. That seems interesting.
That were going
out
in space. I mean, yeah, the troops like
John. I appreciate it, dog. I hope you're having a good Friday, Saturday. Yeah, man. Hope all of y'all are having a good weekend so far.
Ground in space, whatever the fuck. But he was controlling actual people that were taking out it's aliens in the video or whatever. But he finds out that like, oh shit, I was actually controlling real people, taking out real other sentient life forms at the same time. And
I was sacrificing humans because in the last battle, remember,
he sacrificed a lot of people to achieve the mission.
Have you heard that device? This goes. I'm going to sacrifice all my humans to get the D device there. Don't care. I just want to win the game. And then once it wins, boom, all the humans are crying, celebrating. He's like, "What's going on? This is a 12-year-old."
It's like you saved humanity.
And then the PTSD of, hey, you killed thousands of.
So he beat the game as a 12-year-old and had to deal with the reality of slaughtering millions as a 12-year-old. I think. I'm trying to figure it out because like the plot of this movie kind of just collapses on itself. Why do you need this kid to win the game? Can't anyone do it? And why does it need a simulation? Surely, unless you're going against the will of the people, but why would you need a simulation when you can just have one evil bastard just do it in real life? Just do it now. Why does it have to be this kid? Why does it rest on this kid? Why does it solely rest on this kid to win the game? If they're old enough to fire at you, they're old enough to get fired at. Yeah, I know, but that's just one of those things, Sam, that the military doesn't train you for. Man, that's one thing about the military that as a soldier, you got to figure out on your own, and you got to make up your own mind on how to deal with that situation. The military doesn't train you for that. They just teach you how to pull the trigger, man. That's it. They don't teach you how to mentally deal with the stress and the mental weight of what that bullet is gonna do once it leaves your weapon. They just want you to fire it. That's all they train you to do. They don't give a fuck who you're firing it at. That's up to you to deal with that as your own personal individual, really. And that's how I dealt with it, bro. I just put it in the back of my head and I lied to myself and tried to convince myself that I was shooting at other grown men. Because it just made me feel better about what I was doing. So,
of humans, but you saved humanity hits, and that's how that book series expands from there. It's fucking dope.
Have you heard that conspiracy theory though? Which one? Go for it.
No, I was going to say I don't know how Bong did.
Like even and that was like my only problem. Women, on the other hand, they did not get the same courtesy. You're a full-grown adult. You've had your chance. You've lived your life. Okay? You want to try some fuck shit? I will drop you without any remorse, man. With the same empty, void feeling in my heart that I dropped that fully adult male with. The children, on the other hand, that was just some shit that I just... Nobody wants to do that. No one wants to be put in that position. No one even wants to engage with that kind of situation. But you have to. Because it becomes very apparent very quickly that it's either you or them, right? So
understand he wasn't killing human beings. And then,
he was like literally at the age of 8 years old. He was a fucking farm kid in Wisconsin, and every day over this is like the 1930s, right? He doesn't have a TV. He maybe has a radio. This kid fucking wakes up, does farm chores in Wisconsin, goes to school, comes back, does farm chores, and goes to sleep. He saw an army plane flying overhead, and it's because the president, Calvin Coolidge, was taking his summer vacation in Superior, Wisconsin, and it was the mail plane delivering mail to Superior, Wisconsin.
Shout out Calvin Coolidge.
Yeah.
Fucking one of the best presidents we've ever had.
He decides, he's like, I want to be a military pilot at the age of 8 years old, and does fucking everything he can to be the best pilot possible. So like literally his entire life was just like flying and like being the best at flying
And he had this dream at such a young age that he didn't really understand what the job entailed, right? At the age of 8, you don't know what death is. At the age of 8, you have no concept of death. You have no knowledge of death. You don't know what it means. You don't know the effects of it. You don't know the ramifications of death yet. Not at the age of 8. I mean, my grandma died when I was 9 and I was sad, but at the same time, I still couldn't really honestly understand what truly had happened, right? You're too young for that yet. Your brain's not fully developed. So he's thinking, I want to be the best fighter pilot of all time, not knowing that fighter pilots kill people. It's in the job. And maybe he didn't know this. How could he? He's 8, right? And then he went the rest of his life. And this never dawned on him up until he became the best fighter pilot and realized what he was actually doing. That's crazy, man.
That's it. And he just like, it never dawned on him that like, oh shit, there's other people.
It's not that he wasn't smart enough.
Think of this, Cody. Think of this.
Okay.
You go and you have no. You're talking about not the age of information. You're talking about the age of, hey, this is how this kind of works, and you're having fun. You're chasing your dream. You're shooting other people down, yes, in a plane, but it's not registering. You see the explosion of the plane. You're like, I got another one. I'm just chasing that high score because his goal was to be the ace of aces.
It wasn't. He literally just wanted to be the best flyer. He didn't even give
That's considered ace of aces technically, but
a fuck about his record. It was insane. But that's why like General Kenny is like, he was the best. Like he was borderline autistic about just being the best pilot. Period.
Now, dude, that is autism at its highest level. When you're at 8 and you're like, I want to do that forever.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't want to say it's some form of fucking autism, but like he can't look at a plane and think it has sentience, and it's just like doing that by itself. But
I know, but at the same time, we talked about this. Your brain does things in the heat of combat, and your brain does things when you're stressed. Your brain does things whenever it's something that's not a normal occurrence, and something that's not supposed to. Humans killing other humans. That's not how it's supposed to be, right? So it's not that. I don't want to say that he was like autistic or like slow or anything like that either. It's just when you do this job, bro, your brain is just gonna do things, man. Like there was a lot of times, dude, where we would get into firefights in Afghanistan and I could see who I was shooting at, but I couldn't tell if it was a man. I couldn't tell if it was a woman. I couldn't tell if it was a kid. I couldn't tell if the building we were shooting at was actually really a fucking IED factory like they said on the radio, or if it was a fucking school. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. It's like you know what the military tells you? I don't pay you to think, soldier. I pay you to shoot. Right? So it's just one of those things. You're not supposed to go over there and get emotionally involved or emotionally tied up or emotionally paralyzed. You need to go over there and shoot your gun. That's just what it is. And in order for you to do your job effectively, sometimes you need to block out horrible shit. You do. You just need to block out horrible shit. Either horrible shit that's happening to you or horrible shit that you're doing. You need to block it out for your own survival, your own sanity, right? But that's just the way it be. It's not just pilots, man. Motherfuckers on the ground be experiencing the same shit.
In his mind, I guess it was.
But it was literally just like he'd never seen the aftermath.
He never had to come face to face with the idea that there is a dead pilot in every plane I ever shot down.
Exactly.
That and it's a weird reception. I remember watching like the first.
And maybe he had never confronted death prior to that point, right? Maybe it was a shock to him. He had never confronted or stared death in the face like that. ever, and that was his first time. Again, man, when I was 9, my grandma died. When I was 12, my grandfather died. And I've had several fucking aunts, uncles die over the years, and just battle buddies, military, high school friends. I've had several people die over that. I'm no stranger to it, man. I stopped being a stranger to death when, like around when I was like 12, that's when it really, really hit. Like when actually my grandfather died first and then my grandmother. But like when my grandmother died, that's when I really, really knew. For sure. When my grandfather died, I had it backwards. My grandfather died first. My grandfather died, I kind of didn't understand what was happening. But then a couple years later, my grandmother died, and I fully understood what was going on and what it meant, right? And then after that, aunts, uncles, friends, got into the military, some of those friends. You get older, people die, drug overdose, suicide, shit like that, right? Life, right? It just goes, it happens. So I'm no stranger to it, but this guy right here, it seems like he really was a stranger to it. It really does seem like he just had like no awareness of this concept up until he saw it in all of its glory, full frontal in his face. That's rough.
Blown up dude, because like shooting dude completely different from blown up dudes. Like watching a bomber when he blew himself up, and I remember we had to go get feet. His foot landed on the fucking, or was his head? The foot or head landed on it. And remember we brought it down. I was like, oh, what the fuck? That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
No.
That's a bit.
Well, my point is he knew what he was fucking doing. I'm okay with him killing all those people. Like, fine, that was our enemies. But it's like, come on, there's some point.
Levi embodies the military attitude very, very well. Cause like, that's really how it is, man. You get so desensitized to these things, bro. That's really how it is. Like think about if you're at the mall, right? And someone dies at the mall. Everyone's gonna be screaming, losing their mind. Somebody just died. Oh my god, there's a dead fucking body. When you're in the military, it's just like, there's a dead body right there. That's crazy. Oh, the 7th one this week, man. It's wild. All right. Chicken Day at the dining facility. You guys want to come? It's literally how it is. It's so nonchalant and so like not give a fuck, and you get desensitized to this shit, which isn't really a good thing. But it's just funny. Levi embodies that fairly well.
So I think there's a difference between knowing what you're doing and having to come face to face with it. It's like the first time
Not a lot of people can talk about a severed head and a severed foot nonchalantly, casually in a story, like it's not a big fucking deal, like it was just a Tuesday, right? That's the,
shot a fucking animal ever. Was like, there's a difference between like, oh, I see it in my sights, boom, it's down, okay, and then going up and picking up the body is a different experience. Like,
that's exactly what I said. It's very different, man. You shoot someone, anyone can shoot someone, and it doesn't even take the best shot in the world to shoot someone, and it doesn't even take a crazy person to shoot someone. You shoot someone, that's one thing, right? You could probably live with the fact that you shot someone. But it's upon inspection of the dead fucking corpse that you've left behind, that's when it gets you. And I'm telling you, bro, it doesn't matter who you are, man. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're badass, hardcore, you're the most savage person in the world, fucking you goddamn, you wake up and you eat testosterone, like you only fear God, right? Like it doesn't matter, man. These things will fuck with you psychologically. It may not be right now, it may not be tomorrow, it may not even be in that moment. Eventually, it'll fuck with you psychologically.
Like for people who've never hunted, you never understand.
He never had to do that, right? Because this is in the Pacific Theater, so every plane he downed went down in the ocean. Like he never had to see the.
So there was never any proof. There was never any proof of death, but there was also no proof of life. So it was just like, fuck it, whatever.
Aftermath. It was just like, yep, I shot down the enemy. Period. The end. And he just got to move on and keep progressing through it. But the first time he actually had to see, like, oh shit, there was a person inside that plane.
It's a difference between
that doesn't compute with me, man.
So like, when you have example, like a fucking person with his brains blown out like halfway.
I understand why Donut Operator is confused. I do. Because he's like, I don't get it, bro. Like, who in their right mind would think that these planes can fly by themselves? Man. Even by today's standards, with today's technology, A lot of these planes can't fly by themselves. Well, I take that back. A lot of these planes technically could stay airborne by themselves for extended amounts of time, but landing and taking off, you can't do it by yourself, right? Or it can't do it by itself. You need a pilot. So it's
cockpit, and you're just like, oh wow, I did that 40 times, but I've never seen this part of it.
Yeah. It'd be the equivalent of like, it just wouldn't make any sense if I said it, right? It makes sense if he says it because he never actually like saw the aftermath of what he was doing, but Donut doesn't understand it. I do. I really, really do. And you also have to remember that a lot of people, man, a lot of people join the military and don't know what they're getting into. That's happened. That still happens today. And I don't put it past these times of it happening in the past, right? Some people join the military, don't know what they're doing. Some people join the military, have no idea what the military is about. Some people join the military and are genuinely surprised when they say, hey, you're deploying in 6 months. And they're just like, what? What do you mean? It's just like, bro, what did you think you were signing up for? I understand where Donut's coming from, but at the same time, I understand the psychological aspect of what this guy was going through. Really. You got to lie to yourself sometimes. And you have to compartmentalize. And sometimes you just willingly have to turn a blind eye to certain things, whether it be consciously or subconsciously. For him, this was subconsciously, right? He wasn't purposefully ignoring what he was doing. He was just doing it and moving on. Like it was no big deal. When in reality, it was the biggest of deals. So. Oh, man. Ow. Oh, God. Some countries, it's mandatory to join the military. Isn't Canada one of those countries? I hope they never do that here. I hope they never do mandatory service in America at all. Why? Let's say I'm on a foot patrol, or I'm on a convoy, or I'm on a mission. And shit on this mission, it's gonna get hairy. We've already been briefed. We've already had the mission brief. We've already had our pre-briefs and all that stuff. We know we're gonna get contact. The last thing I want right next to me when shit hits the fan is someone that doesn't want to be there. If you don't want to be there, I also don't want you there. Because if you don't want to be there, that means you don't care. That means you're not paying attention. That means you don't give a shit. That means you're not taking it seriously. And you know what happens when that happens? People die. I don't want you near me. I don't want forced service. Because then that's going to cause our existing service members to serve with turds that don't want to be there, and they're just going to get them killed or fuck up the mission or slow the mission down. I don't want forced service in these United States of America. If you don't want to fucking serve, good. Don't, man. But if you don't want to serve and you were forced to, that's the last person I want to serve with. I can't rely on you. I can't trust you. You don't even want to be here. Fuck off. No. So, Canada's not mandatory? I heard it was. Yeah, you're right, Rebel. Nobody really wants to be there, but there's a difference between the ones that actually raised their hands and said the oath because they wanted to, and the ones that were just forced to say the oath because they had to. There is a big difference in mentality between those two types of people. I understand No one wants to go to war. No one wants to be there. But there are people there willing to do the job. And if you're not willing to do it, you just need to get the fuck out. And you don't need to be there. You're wasting time. You're wasting resources. You're wasting money. And you'll quite possibly waste my fucking life. You are useless, man. Maybe back in the day, hell, the draft worked back in the day. I don't trust it now. At all. Really. Do you see the kids these days? You see the youth? The military is a young man's career. Whether you like to think so or not. So if there was forced service or a draft, who do you think's going first? The kids. They haven't shown me anything that they're worth the fuck, bro. They still are arguing over what a woman is. I don't want to fight next to you. You don't know what the fuck is going on in the world. Man? No. Dude. Still trying to figure out fucking gender, and I gotta fight fucking next to you. Trying to figure out how to flank. You're trying to figure out how to use a fucking toilet. No. Man. No. We don't need those kinds of people. We need the people that want to join, not the people that have to or are forced to. Because again, I've seen the young generation of these United States. Y'all quite literally have zero fucking nothing to offer the military. Maybe in other aspects of American life, but the military, y'all have fuck all to offer. Just from everything I've seen and noticed and witnessed, y'all got nothing to offer the service. I don't want forced service, because if we got to serve with y'all, it's over. It's over. We don't win any wars with Gen Z. At all, whatsoever. I hate to say it. Absolutely not. Okay. Let's see. Alright, we got Mr. Ballin. You want to do some Mr. Ballin? This secret mountain forest has a grisly record of 33-0. I wonder if there's a sign at the base of this mountain that says, "Do not enter." And 33 dumbasses entered anyways. And they got by the forest. Or whatever's in it. I guess. Let's see. You can never underestimate people's stupidity. Whenever you tell them not to do something. I can just see it now. And it would probably be Gen Z too that did it. Hey man, you probably shouldn't jump off the Sears Tower. Fucking watch me, bruh. Watch me, bruh. This is going on TikTok, bruh. Kill me. I can count the amount of peers on my fingers that I've met that I'd trust with my life, especially in my 1.5 years in TRADOC. Oh, that's awful. Nothing happens at TRADOC. Nothing. TRADOC is like, that's a training unit, man. TRADOC. Fort Gordon is TRADOC. Fort fucking, most of these places that have basic training, AIT, and all that stuff, TRADOC. Actually, no. Well, it depends. Any places that have schools, man, like Fort Gordon is definitely a TRADOC unit, man, because they have communications there. And I believe lots of communications units, and they do communications training at Fort Gordon, I feel. So yeah, that's TRADOC. And yeah, so much cadre, TRADOC units and shit. Not oftentimes is it, whatchamacallit, but No, I don't wanna imagine that because that would never happen. I don't have to imagine that. That would never happen. Feminists don't join the military. Why? Because the military is nothing but men. Majority. And if you join the military as a female, there is a 99.9% chance that you are going to have a man telling you what to do. And feminists don't fuck with that at all, whatsoever. For any reason, man. Even if it's for their own good. They don't take orders from men. They would never join the military. That's not how they behave.
Today's story is about a rugged 86-year-old man who...
Okay. Oh. Never been to Fort Gordon, but I had a buddy that was at Fort Gordon. He said it wasn't that bad. He was just bored a lot, really.
Who decides to head off into the wilderness to try to do something that nobody else before him had ever been able to do. In fact, some had even died trying. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload once a week. So, if that's of interest to you, please sneak into the like button's house and replace all of their baby carrots with regular-sized carrots. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into today's story. On an early morning in August of 1931, an 86-year-old man carrying a massive backpack limped into a supply store in the tiny town of Alvin, British Columbia, Canada. This man's name was Robert Brown, but everyone knew him as Volcanic, because decades earlier he had discovered a gold mine in Volcanic City, Canada. Volcanic had actually made his living as a gold prospector, and he had been so good at it that he had been able to retire early. And so these days, as an 86-year-old man, he pretty much got to do whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And so inside of this supply store, the young man at the cash register smiled at Volcanic and offered to let him keep his backpack at the front of the store while Volcanic shopped. And Volcanic kind of scowled back at him. I mean, he took offense to this. He knew how he must look to this clerk. I mean, Volcanic was old, short, super skinny, and he dragged his left foot when he walked. And so he figured, this kid must think he's weak. And Volcanic hated that. He did not think he was weak. And so he said to the guy, "No, I can carry my bag myself, thank you very much." Then, to show the clerk there was more to him than met the eye, Volcanic flashed this big grin, revealing this gaudy, enormous set of gold teeth that he had bought when he had struck it rich in Volcanic City. And after seeing these ridiculous gold teeth, the clerk looked very taken aback, which was exactly what Volcanic wanted. Satisfied, Volcanic limped past the cash register and the clerk towards the back of the store, where he picked up some cooking supplies, ammo for his shotgun.
This fucking old-ass man just fucking flexed on this fucking kid, this clerk. He was like, "You think you're better than me? Shit." And then just flexed on his ass with nothing but gold teeth. That seems like an old man I'd like to hang out with.
And a pen to write in his journal. And then he took everything up front to check out. Volcanic watched as the clerk furrowed his brow as he rang up the items, clearly trying to make sense of what Volcanic was up to. He asked Volcanic if he was going camping by the Pit River that ran through town. But Volcanic said no, he was going to the Pit River first, but he was going to hike all the way along the Pit River, go through the mountains to another body of water called Stave Lake. And before the clerk could ask any questions, Volcanic said he was going there because there was a hidden gold mine he was going to explore.
My man, you know you're 80, right? You know that? I'm only 34, and fuck hiking or exploring any of this shit. You know you're 80, right? Good on you, bro. Good on you, man.
And at this, Volcanic watched with delight as the clerk's eyes got wide. Volcanic knew most people, especially in this area, thought this gold mine was a total myth. And sure enough, when the clerk recovered from his surprise, he said to Volcanic, like, "Hey, you really ought to reconsider going there." The clerk said he had seen plenty of people come through his shop on the way out to go try to find this mine.
Never come back.
But nobody ever came back saying they had found it. In fact, he said that some of these people
Never came
didn't
back at all.
at all. At least 2 people had died because the hike to Stave Lake was miles and miles through extremely dangerous terrain. Volcanic waited until...
And the people that died were probably half your age. If that's not enough to deter you, I don't know what is, but you do you, man. You only live once, and you're almost done. You're 86, so...
The clerk was done lecturing him, and then he leaned over the counter and he whispered to the kid that he was different. He had a secret that would allow him, and only him, to find that mine successfully.
Yeah, what is it? You got Life Alert with extended Wi-Fi? So they can find your half-lifeless body in these fucking mountains? That's crazy.
And when he did, he would come back to the store and he would lay the gold down right on the counter just to prove it to him. Then Volcanic left a handful of cash on the counter, he gathered up his supplies, flashed one more gold-toothed smile, and then made his way out the door. A few hours later, Volcanic hiked uphill along the rocky banks of the Pitt River. He'd only covered about 5 miles so far, because after all, he was 86 with a bum left foot, and so he moved pretty slowly these days. But even still, only 5 miles into the journey, he already felt totally cut off from civilization. The Pitt River was about 1,000 feet across, and it was surrounded on either side.
Bro, and this is Canada too. I just remembered. Correct me if I'm wrong, I've never been, but isn't this all that Canada really is? Most of it anyway, aside from your big cities like Montreal and shit like that. Isn't Canada just open fucking wilderness? Like this. I'm almost pretty sure. Yeah. Fuck all that, man. Nah. I am less than half this man's age, and I don't even want to do this shit.
By a thick forest. Volcanic was hiking parallel with the river, with the water on his right and the trees on his left. It was a stark and isolated setting that would make most people feel small and vulnerable. But after so many years working as a gold prospector, Volcanic was very accustomed to being out in the wilderness all by himself, so this felt normal. Now, of course, decades had passed since the last time Volcanic was a gold prospector.
This is a really interesting dude, man. Imagine if he was alive today and not alive back then. Yo, he'd be making a killing on the internet, whether it be on TikTok, YouTube. He would just be live streaming his old ass going up these mountains. I'd watch. Either to see what he found or to see him perish, really. That sounds morbid, but...
But even now, at his
Don, what's good, man?
old age, he still felt like he was the skilled outdoorsman he once was. Volcanic kept on hiking uphill, staying close to the shore's edge, until the sun began to set. And by that point, the trees on the left had begun to thin out, and Volcanic was finally able to see kind of far out beyond in the direction he was going.
What time of year is this? You gonna get cold anytime soon?
And he saw off in the distance there were all these mountains. And as soon as he could see these mountains, he pulled out his journal and he flipped to the last page and he studied the page and then looked at the mountains and he smiled. It was going to take...
Wow, this guy's not even using an actual map. He's using a drawing. That's crazy.
Weeks to reach the gold mine, but he knew he was going the right way. Because on that last page of his journal was a map. This map...
never mind, it was an actual map. I thought he just like surveyed the land and made a map. I was like, this guy's amazing. But no, he actually had a map. Okay. Gotcha. Different map of Pitt River and surrounding area. Maybe he saw a map and copied the map and drew it or took the map. Surely that clerk maybe had a map. I don't know.
Was the secret that Volcanic had told the store clerk about. It was the thing that was going to allow Volcanic to reach that gold mine where so many others had.
1920s. He very well could have drawn this fucking map and actually surveyed the fucking land. Back in his youth, maybe. And he's been on this land forever now, just looking for shit. And finally, close to the end of his life, he's close to finding it.
Not. Volcanic had actually drawn the map himself several years ago.
Oh my god.
Back then, he'd been panning for gold in northern British Columbia when he had run into this indigenous woman in the forest. And this woman was deathly ill, and so out of the kindness of his heart, Volcanic had given this woman some healing herbs.
Yeah, that's cool and everything. I can't get past the fact that he drew the map himself. This guy's very, very intelligent. Like, this guy is very, very intelligent.
And then stayed with her for days until she was nursed back to health. And this woman had been so grateful to Volcanic that she had told him a secret. She told him that the legendary gold mine out near Stave Lake was absolutely real. And she said she knew this because her father was friends with the guy who discovered it. The man's name was...
But if someone discovered it, why is it still there?
Slumac. And she said he would go into the wilderness for days at a time, and then when he came back home, he'd come bearing these huge gold nuggets as big as chicken eggs. And not only did this woman tell Volcanic about this mine...
So he found it and would just consistently make trips back and just take, leave, come back, take, and then leave. I mean, maybe it's a lot in there, and he couldn't bring it all back at once. Had to make continuous trips, and because it's so much and the terrain is so rugged, the trips became increasingly more difficult or harder to do. Maybe some change of weather, change of season, and stopped making trips. Maybe he died on a trip. Maybe he stopped going up. Maybe it just got too treacherous. He's like, fuck it, I've gotten enough out of there, but I didn't pull it all, so it's still there for someone else to find. I don't know.
She gave him directions to it. And so as she did, Volcanic took notes in his journal and then used those directions to construct the map. However, before Volcanic parted ways with this woman, she gave him a warning. Right before he died, she said Slumac put a curse on the mine. And so now, if anybody tried to reach the mine, the forest itself would stop them.
But
what if God made me this way? What way?
Aaron Hernandez.
A sinner.
FX's American Sports Story. Aaron Hernandez. September 17th on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Before I became a professional, strange, dark, and mysterious storyteller, I served in the military. And during my time in the military, I had some pretty wild experiences. But what I remember most about my time in service was not my own stories, but rather the stories I heard from other service members.
Same.
Keep in mind, service members are sent to some of the most...
Those stories stick with me a lot. Man, stories that my friends told me while I was in the service. I had this one sergeant, and he told me a story of one time when he was at E3, living in the barracks. Him and his friends gangbanged this girl that had no arms. None. Armless. She had legs. She had no arms. And I was like, how did this even happen? He's like, I don't know, man. She showed up, and then she drank, got kind of slutty, and we banged her. That's kind of just like how that went. We passed her around like just like a really, really big doobie. That's what she looked like. It's like a really big human-like white blunt just getting passed around the house. It was crazy. I was like, okay, that's enough from you. All right.
Isolated and treacherous places in the world that very few people go to. And so some of the stories that come out of those places are totally creepy and weird. And even more than that, a lot of these stories sort of stay in-house. They stay in the military just because it's kind of a cultural thing. You know, people don't necessarily want to go out and tell the world about the...
Okay. There you go.
And so now, standing in a clearing beside the Pitt River, Volcanic...
Yeah, there's nothing else to it. I mean, it was they did choo-choo, and I'm assuming she went home. I don't know. I didn't really inquire too much after that, really.
Thought back to that warning. He wasn't afraid of what she said, but just to be safe, he figured he would spend as little time as possible in the forest, and anytime he needed to pitch his tent along this journey to the mine, he would do so as far away from the tree line.
And then I had another friend that told me a story while we were on tower guard one time. It was me and him, and I had just done a radio check, and it was like dead quiet, and out of nowhere, he starts talking, and he starts telling me the story about this one time. I think it was like his freshman year of college, and he invited this girl over. He slept with her, and he put it in her butt, and then she pooped on his bed when he put it in her butt, and then he left the room and came back with a fucking newspaper, slapping her with the newspaper, screaming, "Bad, bad, bad," and then he kicked her out. And bro, I felt like I had a chair I was sitting on because like there was like a 2-4, there's a machine gun here, and then my M4 is like propped up right here, and I'm sitting on a chair with like my legs propped up in between the machine gun and my rifle. And I fell out of my fucking chair, bro, and I couldn't move, and I was crying from laughing, and I was paralyzed on the ground laughing. About a good 30 minutes. And had we got attacked, I wouldn't have noticed. Really. That was fun. That was a fun evening. Anyways, okay, sorry.
As he could. This was actually Volcanic's second attempt at trying to reach this gold mine.
Yeah, you think my stories are fucking wacky. Like, man, my friends in the military, they're some degenerates, bro. Degenerates. The worst kinds of people, but they're great.
5 years earlier, he had attempted this exact same hike. On that attempt, despite Volcanic...
Let me go back. I missed some very important things. Just some tiny tidbits of information.
Time he needed to pitch his tent along this journey to the mine.
Gotta go back a little further.
Now, standing in a clearing beside the Pit River, Volcanic thought back to that warning. He wasn't afraid of what she said, but just to be safe, he figured he would spend as little time as possible in the forest, and any time he needed to pitch his tent along this journey to the mine, he would do so as far away from the tree line as he could.
Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. You know what I mean? Right? Like, she says, hey, stay away from, like, don't go here, because that'll be the end of you. But what if it's because he didn't go there that was the end of him? Right? It's almost like, have you ever seen those instances, maybe in movies, or like a skit, or like a cartoon, or like, wouldn't it just be funny in your head if, like, if someone told you how you were gonna die, right? And they were like, you're gonna die the next time you go to Six Flags, right? So you're like, okay, bet. So all I have to do is just not go to Six Flags, right? So I'm just gonna stay home. And then the propane tank in your house explodes and you die in a fucking house fire. It's kind of like that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he doesn't take all these precautions only to die anyways because of the precautions that he took. That's always a pain in the ass when that happens.
This was actually Volcanic's second attempt at trying to reach this gold mine. 5 years earlier, he had attempted this exact same hike. On that attempt, despite Volcanic reaching the shores of Stave Lake, which apparently was right near the entrance to this gold mine, he had to stop because he got a severe case of frostbite on his left foot.
Kevin, yes, kind of. Like that, like on some bullshit like, I avoided that tragedy. And then a fucking random piano falls out of the fucking sky. Boom, dead right there in the street. It's like, oh, what the fuck, man? Crazy.
That frostbite had caused 3 of his toes to die and rot, and so Volcanic had to amputate all 3 of them with his pocket knife there.
Let's go back. This is where the shit starts to go back.
A frostbite on his left foot. That frostbite had caused 3 of his toes to die and rot, and so Volcanic had to amputate all 3 of them with his pocket knife right there out in the wild. No anesthetic, nothing. And so this is why Volcanic had to turn around on that attempt. And it's why he now walked with a...
Does a frostbitten area bleed if you cut it off? I've always wondered that. So for instance, if I get frostbite on this finger, right, up to the knuckle, but I cut it off right there, would that bleed? Or are all the nerve endings and everything in there just so far gone and shot that blood's no longer reaching that part of the body? That's not bleeding. Blood's not reaching that part of the body anymore. So you could just like sever it right there. But like, I'm just wondering. I wouldn't think so either. I just had to ask.
Limp. And Volcanic had to admit that the fact that he had been forced to...
Sorry if I seem ignorant on that. I've never had frostbite, so...
literally cut off his own toes, did make it seem like he had become a victim of Slumax.
And I wonder if it would hurt. It's numb. You can't feel it. Toes are dead. I wonder if there'd be any pain involved. I'm sure there'd be like a psychological aspect of like, God damn it, I can't believe I'm cutting off my own toes. But I don't think the pain would be there either. Bitches are frozen solid. And if anything came out, it'd be like, I don't know, like fucking black blood, like black colored goop. It would just be like slow to come out. You wouldn't bleed out from that, so.
Curse. But he also knew that it didn't take a curse to make the Canadian
But
wilderness.
that's not really that bad. Like, yeah, now you only have 2 toes, but at least the pain wasn't there and shit. You didn't bleed out. Could have been worse.
That's dangerous. He just should have worn thicker socks. Just then, Volcanic heard a twig snap somewhere outside of his campsite in the darkness. And so instinctively, he shot up, he grabbed a shotgun, and he turned towards the sound, half expecting a bear to come charging out of the woods. But after standing there for several minutes, nothing came out of the forest, and eventually all Volcanic could hear was the gentle sound of his fire and the river. The forest was totally still. As his heartbeat slowed down, Volcanic told himself that, the sound he heard must have just been a rabbit running through the forest, nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's what I would tell myself too.
So he lowered his gun and steadied his breathing, and he looked at his fire and he gave half a thought to just leaving his campfire burning, just in case he heard something else, he'd have some light to go out and see what it was. But he thought he was being kind of paranoid, and so he grabbed some water and put out the fire, engulfing him in darkness, and then he climbed into his tent and fell asleep. The next morning, Volcanic got up at sunrise, packed up his tent and his camping gear, and then hiked all day long. And he did this day in and day out, dragging his left foot behind him for over a month. Volcanic knew he was moving much slower than a younger, healthier man would. Some days, he could barely travel a mile before feeling so exhausted that he would have to stop. But despite becoming skinny,
If I only had 7 toes too, that would really hinder how far I could walk as well. I truly agree, yes.
And more ragged by the day, Volcanic kept on hiking. And eventually, after going all the way down the Pitt River and crossing through the mountains, he finally arrived at the shore of Stave Lake, the same place he'd been when he'd had to amputate his own toes. But this time, he was able to keep on going. Volcanic hiked all the way to the opposite side of Stave Lake, and he came to a stop to take in the view. Surrounding the lake were all these huge rolling mountains, and in one spot, Volcanic noticed the mountains dipped down and formed a natural bowl in the earth that was filled with this gorgeous bluish-white ice. Now, even though Volcanic had never been to this place before, he knew instinctively that that had to be Stave Glacier. And this glacier meant everything to Volcanic because it was the last major landmark on his map on the way to this mine. According to his map, the entrance to the gold mine was located on the side of a mountain not far from the glacier. Now, Volcanic wanted to keep pushing forward and try to get to this entrance as soon as possible. I mean, he was excited. But the sun was starting to go down, and he knew if he kept on going at night, the risk of injury was quite high. He could slip and fall. And remember, it had taken Volcanic over a month to hike into this location. He is way away from civilization. And so if he gets hurt, nobody's coming to help him.
Yeah, that's it.
And so he decided he would stop and make camp that night. He pitched his tent well away from the tree line. He ate some beef jerky and biscuits, and then he crawled into his sleeping bag to try to go to sleep. But he couldn't. He was too excited about this mine. He was so close. And so he laid there restlessly for hours, listening to the sound of the wind pick up outside. Now, normally the sound of the wind would help Volcanic fall asleep. But tonight, it was not helping. It was actually making him feel really uneasy. The wind was loud and fast, howling across the lake. And that's when Volcanic noticed that despite all the noise outside, when he looked at the fabric of his tent, it wasn't moving with the wind. It was totally stationary. And so Volcanic sat up and he opened up the flap of his tent and looked outside. And the second he did, it got even louder, the howling wind. But he couldn't feel any wind blowing. And so he struck a match and he held it out in front of his tent, and the flame didn't even flicker, again, despite all this crazy howling sounds. And that's when he realized there was no wind. And so feeling totally unsettled, Volcanic closed the flap of his tent, got back in his sleeping bag, clutching his gun, listening to this
Yo, at that point, I feel like I'd be going fucking crazy. Because that's, be one thing if it was an animal or another human being that's fucking with you this way. But that sounds like Mother Nature, doesn't it? A little bit. I don't know what to think. Yeah, I'm feeling a little uneasy as well.
Horrifying sound outside that he couldn't make any sense of. And then by the morning, when the sun came up, the sound just went away. By this point, Volcanic was so anxious just to leave and go to this mine that he didn't eat any breakfast. He just grabbed his journal, tore the map out of the last page, tucked it in his back pocket, and he started hiking. He still felt very uneasy about the phantom wind he had heard all night long, but now his sole focus was on this mine. He knew that if he could find it, he would not only have infinite riches, but he would also
I feel like I should remind you again, bro. You are 86 years old. Infinite riches? It'd be infinite riches for me. Or literally, quite possibly anyone in chat. Bro, you're almost at the end. Let's just think positive and say you make it to 110. That's still not that far away. Infinite riches. But hey.
Go down in history as like the greatest gold prospector ever.
That should be the goal. Infinite riches. You don't have that much time.
And on top of that, on the way back out again, he could stop at that supply store and drop some gold on the counter and rub it in that clerk's face, just like he said he would. Volcanic made his way first towards the glacier and then up the side of a mountain. He dodged tree limbs and climbed over boulders, all the while dragging his left foot on the ground. And then finally, up ahead, he saw this dark hole on the side of a mountain, and it looked like the entrance to a cave. Now, Volcanic could not see very far into that cave, but he was certain the gold mine had to be inside of there. And so with a rush of excitement, he made his way up to the dark entryway, and he stepped inside. 2 months later, on November 2nd, 1931, that store clerk back in Alvin looked out the front window of his store and watched the snow begin to fall. A blizzard was coming in, and all this clerk could think about was that strange old man with the gold teeth who had wandered off into the wilderness 3 months earlier. Now, the old man had told the clerk that he would stop by the store on his way out to prove he had found the gold. However, the man had not returned, and so the clerk wasn't.
2 months pass. Homie's dead. Gotta be. 86 years old, man. 7 toes. Gold. Hungry. Did I mention old? Man, that's like a key factor here. I think he's dead.
Sure if that was because, he was too embarrassed because he hadn't found the mine, or if maybe he had gotten stuck out in the wilderness. But either way, the clerk just had a bad feeling that, something bad could have happened to that guy. And so just to play it safe, the clerk grabbed his jacket, he left the store, and he went to go find the local game warden to tell him what was going on. 3 weeks later, that same game warden trudged through knee-high snow at the edge of Stave Lake. Even though he and his search party were much younger and healthier than Volcanic,
it don't matter.
It had still taken them weeks to arrive here, mostly because of the blizzard. But in all the time it took hiking to this location, they had not found a single trace of Volcanic. The warden was beginning to wonder if this was pointless, if they should just turn around and head back. And
that's my exact thought at this moment, yeah.
When he looked up and he noticed the glacier on the far end of the lake. And in the snow near that glacier was this little pop of color. The warden pointed it out to his men, and they all began running towards it. And as they got closer, they realized what this thing was a tent that had collapsed under the snow. And then once they actually reached the tent, they shoveled off all the snow and sort of popped it back up, and they looked inside. But Volcanic was not in there. Instead, they found an empty sleeping bag, they found some cooking supplies, a shotgun, some ammo, and a journal that's...
He's not going to go anywhere without his journal or his shotgun, so... Homie got separated from his tent some way, somehow. Maybe he got up in the middle of the night to take a piss. Maybe slipped, fell. He's on a mountain, after all. Or woke up to take a piss, got by something in these mountains.
Its last page was missing. But there was also one more thing that was inside of this tent. On the floor, right near the opening flap of this tent, was a glass jar. The warden picked it up.
Did it have his toes in it?
Looked inside, and he gasped. Volcanic Brown was never seen again, and no explanation for what happened to him was ever uncovered. His body was never found, and there were no signs of struggle anywhere in or near his campsite. But...
Did you check the cave? The one cave that he went into? Maybe they didn't find it. He's probably dead somewhere inside that cave.
The contents of that glass jar that was found inside of the tent proved that either Slumac's gold mine or Slumac's curse was real. There are two slightly different versions of what people believe was found inside of that jar. The first is that the jar was filled with huge nuggets of raw gold. If this is true, it means the gold mine did exist and Volcanic must have found it before he disappeared.
Or the gold mine exists, he found it, he brought this back, left to go get more. But why would he leave without his shotgun, at the very least? If he did find the mine, he'd no longer have use for the journal. But to leave without the shotgun? Because you never know what you're gonna encounter. I'd at the very least take that always. And he did. Except for right here.
But the second version of what people say was found in that jar,
it's his toes,
has a much darker meaning. In that version, when the warden held up that jar, he did see gold inside, but it was not gold from the mine. Instead, it was Volcanic's solid gold teeth.
Oh shit!
Almost 100 years have passed since Volcanic went missing, and still to this day, no one has ever successfully found the mine and lived to tell the tale. But to this day, people still keep looking for it, and so far, at least 33 people have either died or disappeared in search of it.
I don't understand. Let's entertain the fact that those are his teeth, that it is his teeth, because his teeth were gold. Where's the rest of him? That just seems strange, doesn't it? You find the teeth, but don't find the man. The shotgun's still there, the journal's still there, food's still there, the tent's still there. Nothing is in any kind of position to where it looks like he was ready to leave or set off in a different direction or path. And they're placed in a jar. You expect me to believe that this motherfucker just removed his teeth, put them in a jar, walked out of his tent, and proceeded to just walk into nothingness and then just die? I doubt it. That's why I don't think it was his teeth. My theory is, I like my theory better. My theory is that he did find the gold, and he did find the mine. He brought some back and was like, all right, fuck it. I'm gonna go get some more. Haven't seen anything that can really hurt me, so I'm just gonna leave my shotgun here so I can carry more gold. And on his second trip to go get more gold, he never came back. Because if it is his teeth, what the fuck is the purpose? And what animal would do that? None, bro. What animal would eat you in a manner to where they would leave your teeth behind, pristine, in a jar, man? Animals don't have opposable thumbs, so that goes out the window. I don't know. I think my theory's better. I think my theory is better because nothing can explain those teeth. I don't believe that he pulled them out, left the tent, and said, "Oh well, there's that." No, he didn't. I don't think he did that. Who knows? Cave could have collapsed while he was in there. And they didn't find the cave. The only way to find the cave is to find the last page. And you know where that last page is? In his back pocket. That's the page that leads to that cave. So I don't think they're ever going to find that cave. Because the location to that cave died with that man. So. And even if you do find it, 33 dead, no survivors? I feel like that should be enough to... Maybe they have signs up now. I can't imagine that with a record like that, they would still let people willingly go in here. I can understand if, 30 dead, but, there's been over 60 survivors. That's not really a bad ratio. But 33-0, surely there's signs by now, right? Do not enter. Stay away. Stay out. Trespassers will be prosecuted or some shit. I don't know. Oh, no, man. All right. That's it for that. Robert Volcanic Brown. Okay. All right. Got. Okay. We'll do this one. What is something no one seems to consider in a zombie apocalypse? Something that a lot of people don't seem to consider for a zombie apocalypse is that if you haven't been preparing for the zombie apocalypse in regards to food, water, shelter, security, currency, gas, ammo, and weaponry, you're already dead. I know we all like to talk about what we would do in the case of a zombie apocalypse, but if you haven't already been planning for it and you don't have yourself a bunker or a place out in the middle of nowhere or some kind of contingency plan that involves plans A, B, C, and D, you're probably already dead. And if you're not dead, your chances of immediate survival are less than 50. And if you live in a big city with lots of bridges and lots of ways to get in and out of the city, you're probably one of the first to die. Places like LA, New York, Dallas, Austin, Atlanta. You live in those city limits, you're dead in a zombie apocalypse. If it happens out of nowhere and the transformation rate is somewhat quick, you die. Really. You don't get out of that situation. You don't get out of the city. You don't get out alive. So that is the part that not a lot of people think about, really. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. I think that zombie apocalypse, if you're not prepared for it, surviving it, it all comes down to luck. Really. Because my plans in a zombie apocalypse is to just hop in the fucking car and I have a place where I know I'm gonna go and it is out in the middle of nowhere. Right? But see, that's the problem. Even just that is a problem. And the place that I'd be going to is a rendezvous point for me and my friends. We've talked about this. Right? We've been talking about this since we were children. Really. The place we would go is a rendezvous point out on one of my buddies on a stretch of land. And hop in the car and go there, and then from there assess the damages and devise a plan, right? However, even that is a challenge because in that scenario, I'm not the only one on the street. I'm not the only one on the road, and I'm not the only one trying to get somewhere. And guess what? In that case, no one's stopping for stop signs. No one's stopping for red lights. No one's yielding. No one's putting on their turning signals to change lanes. It's going to be fucking chaos. So even simply just the act of getting from one place to another in a vehicle, which is an advantage, would still be a fucking hazard and difficult. So yeah, all right, here, let's see. Short Reddit.
What is something that no one seems to consider in a zombie apocalypse? As zombies
Another thing that, I don't think I've ever seen, baby zombies. Baby zombies. What about baby zombies? What do we always see in the movies? Grown men, grown women. I don't think I've ever seen like an 8-year-old zombie run around in their Skechers, right? In their gymnastics costume or whatever the fuck, or their baseball outfit. Maybe they had a baseball game and got bit on the field. Little rabid fucking 7-year-old going around fucking biting motherfuckers on the ankle and shit. Oh, there's a baby zombie in Dawn of the Dead? It's been a minute, bro. Dawn of the Dead. When was that? Maybe I've seen it. I don't fucking know. I've seen a lot of zombie movies. Maybe I've seen that one. Maybe I haven't. I can't fucking remember, honestly.
Gradually lose weight, their pants should come off.
As zombies gradually lose weight, their pants should come off. Yeah, that's true. Actually. Well, not really. This is assuming zombies lose weight. I've seen fat zombies before. Uh-huh. I've seen that one zombie that was that out of shape 40-year-old dad that drives a tow truck. I've seen zombies like that. 6'1", 6'2", 250, 260 pounds. I've seen zombies like that. That's assuming they lose weight because of the virus. Yeah. The fat ones are freshly turned zombies. Oh, you got to give them some time, and then they drop all the human weight.
Now I have an image stuck in my head of a horde of zombies tripping over their pants. Thanks. Bicycles. The gasoline
That wouldn't be that bad. They're tripping over their pants. That'd be...
will go bad in a few years and we'll all be reliant on bicycles to outrun the shambling damned. Plus bikes are...
I don't know, bro, because in the movie World War Z, those zombies are running about the speed of a fucking... I don't know, man. God damn near a fucking motocross bike. A dirt bike. Man, you ever seen the movie World War Z? Those zombies are fast. Like, fast. I don't think a bicycle's gonna cut it. I'm just saying.
totally silent, and if they're attracted to noise, you've eliminated that issue. Safe drinking water.
Yeah, but if they see you, right? They can still see you on a bike just because they can't hear you. I'm just thinking of all the things I've seen zombies do over the course of time, whether it be in film or in TV series.
I've seen in zombie...
Stripper zombies, that would be so unfortunate. Stripper zombies or like porn zombies, that'd be so unfortunate. It'd be one of those... I want to, but I can't. I should, but I won't. It's kind of like that. That wouldn't be fun. Just be like a constant temptation.
Be movies or shows where the characters drink muddy, stagnant lake water. I feel like you are just asking to die or become extremely ill.
Safe drinking water. I've seen in zombie movies or shows where the characters drink muddy, stagnant lake water. I feel like, see, here's the thing. I'm not really keen to drinking muddy, stagnant lake water, even if we're not in a zombie apocalypse. So, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It would still be possible to get fresh drinking water in the apocalypse. Even if everything stopped working, right? Even if like the places that did water, the water companies stopped sending water to your house, right? I think you could still do it if you had electricity, right? If you had electricity, just a little bit, maybe like a portable generator or something. Have you ever turned off the water in your house? And when you turn off the water in your house, you turn on the sink, guess what happens? Water still comes out. But not for very long. Water still comes out for about, like, I don't know, between 3 to 5 seconds. You turn it on, water, 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 and then it stops. It stops. You know what I'm saying? Right? So technically you could still get it. You would just have to go to house, right? And just pull that remaining water out of the pipes. Because that water's still there even if your house is no longer getting water. Or in this case, if your water's turned off. You still have that last bit of remaining water in the pipes. Kind of like how when you're using a hose and you turn off the hose, there's that last remaining water that's still in the hose that needs to come out even though the water's been cut. Right? So
dysentery. Plus the fact that if someone killed a zombie near a water source, even a drop of blood might have the power to infect everyone drinking from it. That's a really good point. You can't tell if there's a zombie lying further upstream infecting all the water. Fun story. I used to be in Army cadets, and we were doing an expedition in the summer through Dartmoor.
Wawa's new personal pizza is here for dinner, starting at 4 p.m. Make a Wawa run on the way home.
Everyone who wasn't conserving their water properly decided to drink out of a stream and were trying to call out all the people.
Elaine, Ticken, take it easy. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Well, Monday.
Still drinking out of bottles for being pussies. 20 minutes later, we got further upstream to find a rotting sheep corpse with its intestines hanging out in the stream. Oil platforms. Anyone who've been to one can confirm. Those things are floating cities. I read this zombie book called Sea of Dead, and they end up on an oil rig safe until one day a seagull.
That's what I always thought of too. Out in open water, preferably a fucking oil rig. But in the case of a zombie apocalypse, the odds of you even making it there, pretty slim. But if you did, that would be a good place. Because from what I've seen and noticed, zombies can't swim. Maybe they can and they've never tried, but I mean, you put a whole bunch of zombies out in open water, there's a whole bunch of shit in the water that's gonna get them. This even begs the question, oh my god, what if you're on an oil platform, right, and you had the perfect plan, fucking commandeer this boat, kill the guy that's on it, take the fucking boat, load it up with all my shit, take the boat, get out to the fucking oil rig, get on the oil rig, got all my supplies. If I ever need more supplies, I get back on the boat, go back to land, come back, right? Foolproof plan, correct? However, like, what if the zombies decide that they want to try to actually swim and get to you, right? Like, we see human on oil rig, and they decide that they want to swim. The odds of them getting to you, they're not going to get to you. The odds of them making it to you, they're not going to make it to you. However, never thought about this. What if the sharks get to the zombies? Does the zombie have to bite you in order for you to turn? Or if you eat a zombie as a human, do you turn into a zombie as well? Because I'm thinking of zombie sharks. Is what I'm thinking of. And that's a whole nother level of fear right there. Like, I'm thinking of zombie sharks, and then the very next time you're like, oh, fuck, man, I'm out of supplies. Okay, let's get off the oil rig, get back on the boat, try to go to land. And then you start getting chased by these fucking creatures. These fucking zombie sharks. And they're not normal sharks. They can swim faster, they're bigger, they resemble the same fucking sharks that you see in the movie Deep Blue Sea. That's not fun. That's not a good day.
Crash dead and decrepit onto the rig. And like either when they tried to leave or get there, they are nudged by this enormous thing in the water, which turns out to be a zombified whale. That's interesting because World War Z is almost the exact opposite. One of the most dangerous places.
A whale. Oh god. That would be the scariest creature in the ocean. It's already the apex predator of the ocean, but could you imagine a zombie orca? May God have mercy on every soul in the ocean. Sucks for y'all. Y'all about to get fucked up. A zombie orca. Because those things are already insanely... Well, then again, the whole zombie thing turns you brain dead. And turns you stupid. And orcas are naturally super intelligent, so... let's just hope they don't keep their intelligence if they become zombies. They just become dull fucking creatures. That don't really do much. I don't know. The dog from I Am Legend is a fucking legend, bro. He squared up against 3 of them bitches. And took them on, bro. I mean, yeah, he did get infected, but hey, he did what a loyal dog does. He protected his homie. And he was a savage. I was really sad when the dog died in I Am Legend. Even more sad that it was him that had to kill the dog. God, that was rough. That sucked to watch. Because I love dogs.
Places to be was the water, due to the massive number of dead floating around the ocean.
And who's to say that a zombie virus would have the same effects on an animal as it does on humans? Because naturally, from what we've seen, for the exception of a couple of different films, zombies are naturally kind of like dumb, slow, not very aware, right? So I wonder what the effects would be on an animal. if it would enhance their existing physiology, or if it would just be just like humans, right? So like a great white gets gets a zombie virus. Does he just like swim around like a fucking brain dead fish, eating what it can, but just like right? I don't know. Or would it enhance this shark in every single fucking way? Speed, agility, strength, size. Even the teeth get sharper. I don't know. Who fucking knows?
And walking on the seabed, and occasionally climbing up the sides of boats and such. Who the heck is mowing everyone's lawns? No matter what TV show or movie you watch, the lawns stay immaculate. How? Goats.
That's just Hollywood. Really. I've noticed that too. All the lawns are mowed, none of the trash cans are out on the street. There's no kids' toys in the fucking lawns. There's always a mailman delivering mail in the scene every time.
Vegetarian zombies. Boats. Wanna survive the zombie apocalypse? Steal a yacht. Zombies don't swim. Even in the fiction where they can survive ocean pressures and walk on the sea floor out to islands, they can't swim up to boats that are far enough away from land. In a similar vein, getting
On top of that, zombies, just like a human being, zombies wouldn't be able to survive the natural current that exists in our oceans. So it's just that water is just a fucking no-go for zombies. If you can find a way to survive out in the ocean, you'll survive a zombie apocalypse. I just like between the sharks and the other predators that exist in the ocean, the water temperature, the current, the depth, it's just borderline impossible. I don't foresee that happening. That's not really
to somewhere that's very isolated and remote. There's obviously the problem of growing food and staying warm and all that, but everybody seems to immediately try to find somewhere temperate and populated. We're smarter than zombies. We can figure.
You know, it's another place that I would like to chill out in a zombie apocalypse, bro. High ground. And when I say high ground, I'm talking about like high ground, like a building, a tall building, man, and just make a funnel. You're gonna have to fight these fucking things being in a building that you just can't get out of that. Eventually, you'll have to fight eventually. But a building, man, you live on the top floors, if not the roof. You secure a couple of floors for living, and then everything below that, you create a funnel. So anything that comes in, all you have to do is aim in one direction and pull the trigger. That's it. Again, but like you said earlier, the hard part is surviving after the fact. Man, the hard part is getting more water, getting more food, getting more ammo, discovering new places to find resources and shit like that. That's the hard part, man. It's the continuation of survival that's the hard part in zombie apocalypses, not the initial startup. It's the continuation of survival.
Figure out the wilderness. They'll die of starvation or predation or just not be able to surmount obstacles like fast-moving rivers and steep cliffs. Also fences. And traps. The person who thinks to do these simple things is always seen as some kind of survival god in movies.
Has there ever been anything shown in a zombie movie or a TV show or a book as to something that zombies can't eat? Right? Because if you guys remember the movie War of the Worlds, those fucking aliens, they wreaked havoc on the Earth, but eventually they died. Why? Because of the Earth, man. The water, the bacteria, the just the natural shit of our planet. Their immune system couldn't handle it. And that's how they died. Is there anything out there about zombies like that? Because I'm thinking like bug spray, right? You put on some off, those flies aren't gonna come near you. I'm thinking for like a zombie apocalypse, if there's like something that could like be invented, like a what's the word I'm looking for? Something to give off some kind of like pheromone to deter these fuckers. I don't know.
So you chose to go around the horde that was stuck in that valley instead of directly through it to save 10 minutes? Brilliant! You ration your food and lay low most of the time? Insanity! And what's this, a homemade tool? I can't even. Drives me nuts. I'm going to Grande Isle, LA. Blow up the bridge up when I get there. Also, all the houses are one stilts. I blow up the stairs too, use rope ladder. Additionally, I pick a house near the marina. If they ever make it to the island, I hop on a boat and head for one of the many oil rigs in the Gulf. There is an abundance of fish near them. I just need to collect rainwater. I'll have a ferry system in place near the bridge. There are plenty of food resources on the island, so just bring booze for when the hurricanes come. We'll have a hurricane party in the grocery store and try not to die. See you there.
All right.
Housing would finally be affordable in New York again.
You mean free?
Her eyesight is a death sentence.
I think it's funny. It's like
Housing would finally be affordable in New York again.
zombie apocalypse. Housing would finally be affordable in New York again. Oh, bro. Zombie apocalypse. New York is one of the first places to fall. I hate to tell you, but why do you think that New York is always the place of disaster in damn near almost every movie in Hollywood? Think about it. Think about it. It's so dense. It's so many people. Zombie apocalypse, the infection rate would be so fast in a place like that. It's so condensed with so many people. Man, why do you think that Hollywood is always using New York, LA for their world-ending movies? Because it's just that's what it would be. That'd be the first to go, man. For real.
Again. Her eyesight is a death sentence. Once your contacts are unsafe to wear, you're stuck with glasses. Break or scratch your glasses beyond usefulness, you're dead.
Wait. That really just, that really just depends on how blind you actually are, because I wear glasses, but without my glasses, I would still be able to see zombies. How blind are you? I don't know. Without glasses, okay, guys, without glasses, I can see zombies. I just can't read chat. I can't see that. I can't see my chat. I can't read those words from here with no glasses, right? But I could see a zombie at that house across the street, 2 houses over. That's about what? 300 feet? So, how blind are you? I don't think it's a death sentence. I mean, Jesus Christ. How thick are your fucking glasses, man?
I've been dead set against laser eye surgery until I read this comment. I think this really is easily forgotten, especially as her can't wait for zombie apocalypse is done by a lot of nerds and a lot of us wear glasses. People with braces.
I think I'd be good, to be honest. People with braces, y'all would be fucking fucked. You would have to take your braces off yourself. Ugh. Fuck that. I'd rather stitch up an open wound than to fucking take my braces off myself. Yeah, you have fun. You have fun.
Orthodontist is
I did not think about that.
hankering for brains. Your options to remove those brackets become limited. I'm aware that they can be removed at home, but it's genuinely a topic that I've never seen even hinted at in zombie movies or stories. I once had a patient remove her braces with pliers. When I asked her,
I mean, I don't think that this is something that no one's considered before, but childbirth. Childbirth. Ladies, no anesthesia, no clean environment, no nurses, no doctor, no good bedside manner, no fucking... Bruh, you're just like in a house that don't even belong to you, and the roof is missing, and you're giving birth. Imagine.
Why, she said. I didn't want to have them on anymore. Oh, okay. I think bugs would be a problem.
Yeah, some women still do home births, but not the majority. Not the majority. I mean, I'm pretty sure like 2-3 generations ago that was very prevalent, but not so much these days. There'd be a lot of women that it's not gonna be impossible. It's just they're gonna be very unhappy with how the process actually goes. Humanity has been spoiled in that regard to where we have doctors and hospitals and people to deliver your kids and anesthesia and a clean environment, right? Some ladies would have a hard time adjusting, but because maybe there's still condoms in the zombie apocalypse. I don't know. Could you even trust condoms in the zombie apocalypse? Just at an abandoned gas station, you see some condoms. Do you trust those condoms or not? I think I would, right? I'm still gonna be beating cheeks in the zombie apocalypse. I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't know if I would want to. I don't know if I would want to bring a child into the world in a zombie apocalypse. Hence the condoms and shit. But
zombies are rotting corpses with flies buzzing around them all day. If a fly eats zombie flesh, presumably that fly turns into a zombie and could infect a healthy person. Mosquito bites.
Could zombies survive that? Or could flies survive that? I think that would just overpower the fuck out of the fly. If you think about it. Right? Because, I mean, most movies stay away from this type of stuff. The Fly, right? Because if it's that easy, then the whole world dies. But in most movies, there's a substantial amount of the population that lives. This is world ending. A mosquito? A mosquito. A mosquito zombie. That's world ending. Which is crazy because it's such a small fucking thing. It's world ending. I would like to believe that the zombie virus would just completely overpower the fly, and the fly would just drop dead. It would suck on the zombie 1 or 2 good times and be like, oh shit, that was it. Oh god, I think that was fentanyl, and then they're dead. Right? Maybe that's just how I'd like to think about it because, yo, August, what's good?
Zombie mosquitoes. Honestly, I'd just rather kill myself. The zombie, as a species...
God, dude. I can't imagine. The zombie apocalypse happens and you live in either, like, Africa or the Amazon. Imagine a fucking tiger. A lion tiger. Or a zombie tiger. A zombie rhinoceros. A zombie giraffe. A zombie black mamba. A zombie anaconda. A zombie cheetah. You know how fast those things are? 60 miles an hour. A zombie cougar. A zombie puma. A zombie owl. A zombie crow. We're dead. The world ends. It's over. It's over. Nothing lives. I mean, we're getting into like it's over territory at this point. So
is designed for failure. Its chief food source, the living human, is also its only method of reproduction, and its #1 predator. That predator is smarter, faster, more mobile.
Hold on, the zombie as a species is designed for failure. Its chief food source, the living human. So we keep talking about animals and stuff like that, and that may be far-fetched, but it is still fun to think about, like, or just terrifying to think about, really. You know, just imagine. You make it out of the city, right? Like, oh my god, there's a lot of fucking zombies. All right, I'm in the clear. And you turn around and you're staring into the beady little fucking eyes of a zombie honey badger. And you're just like, oh, come on, man. I knew I should have saved. I knew I should have saved my game like 30 minutes ago. Now I'm gonna die and have to start all over. God damn it.
Probably stronger and more creative than it ever can be. And it can be taught, in a ridiculously short time, to kill a zombie from 50 to 100 yards away, with reasonable reliability. Like having to fight a lion every time you want to have sex or eat a sandwich. I always hear people say they will just come up to the far north of Canada to be safe from the zombies. 99% of these people have no idea how cold -40°C is when there is no civilization keeping the heat on. Winter will kill more people than zombies. I believe World War Z, the book, had a chapter on this. People went to Canada once the outbreak started in the summer, and were fine until winter came and food began to run out. The food didn't run out though, they just found new meat that was very taboo to eat previously. The zombies mow the lawns because they know that if they don't, the plants will mutate into weird giant pea shooters, and others plants specifically evolved to kill zombies. The shelf life of gasoline. On its own, gasoline has a shelf life of about 3 months. After that, it starts to break down chemically. Ethanol blends can be a little shorter than that. How many zombie movies have you seen where someone pulls up to a gas station and somehow pumps themselves a tank full of gas long after the zombie plague has swept over the area? That gas is useless. And that's before we even get to the issue of what's running the pumps.
Electricity?
I feel bad for the...
Without electricity, those pumps can't pump out fuel. That's it, really.
The animals in the zoos. Also prisons. It isn't nice to call the people...
Nah, I wouldn't really feel bad for the prisons. Then again, wouldn't prison be a relatively safe place to be in a zombie apocalypse? I don't know how long you would last after the fact, but the initial outbreak, boom, it happens. Infection. And let's say the infection reaches your prison. You're locked in a cell. Yeah, I know there's zombies and shit, but they can't get through those bars. So technically, as long as like you're not in the yard when it happens, or you're not like in the library checking out books or on your free time, and you're currently in your cell when it goes down, you're relatively safe. However, everyone that could quite possibly open that cell is now dead or a zombie. So you're still serving life. Isn't that a bitch? Oh man, that would fucking blow.
And prison animals. Once the zombie virus hits, that doesn't mean that other diseases, natural dangers, accidental injuries, and predatory animals no longer exist. You also won't have easy access to things like flu shots, hydrogen peroxide, etc. Also, lots of people say that once the zombie virus hits, they'd go hole up in a Costco or something because of all the supplies.
Yeah, there's already going to be thousands of people with that plan. You know what no one is thinking about? You know what's another thing no one's really considering for the zombie apocalypse? You know those big structures that we have in this country and, all over the world that hold back millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of metric tons of water? They're called dams. What do you think's going to happen to these dams when there's no one there to operate them? When there's no one to make sure that these places get electricity? When there's no one there to make sure that these things are running operational? These things are not self-sustaining. You can't just put it there and leave. You got to have employees there. What do you think happens to these big megastructures when there's no humans there to do anything with it? That's a bad day.
However, what they don't understand is that everyone is going to go hole up in a Costco. And I think that while you should have a zombie survival team with you, you definitely don't want half of a city in your hideout.
No.
Personally, I'm going to go hit up a Dino Mart or something when the zombie virus strikes. Nobody is going to be looting Dino Mart. How fast nature takes back land. If you leave houses abandoned for a couple months, things like mold, vermin and bugs start coming in.
Yeah.
Give it a couple years and plants may even start growing inside through vines and whatnot. We rarely see anyone with some sort of temporary or minor disability in zombie apocalypse movies. What?
Yeah, that's a brutal truth right there. That is a brutal truth of life right there. People with disabilities, you might not make it. If you're in a wheelchair, unless you get fucking Vin Diesel and his team from Fast and the Furious to pimp your fucking ride, bro, you're not making it with that wheelchair. Unless you're willing to put some nos on that bitch and chase the dragon. You're not making it, dog. People with broken legs at the time, I know broken legs heal, but the zombie apocalypse happens right now and you're still on crutches with a cast, that's going to prove problematic for your movement. It sucks for you. Not to mention the people with mental health problems. They might see these zombies and think they're like circus performers and want to go play with them and shit. I don't know. Right? Yep. Disabilities, physical, mental. Y'all are not surviving either.
What happens when the guy with contacts doesn't have his glasses with him the day the apocalypse starts? I guess that woman with an intrauterine device has to have that in her body forever. Person with screws in their leg to heal broken bones, those stay there too.
Mm-hmm.
The smell. Between the rotting animated...
Oh, I'm kind of fucked, really. Unless I can... I know what it's called. I would be kind of fucked a little bit in a zombie apocalypse. Matter of fact, that would be my first move. It's not Costco, but I would rendezvous with my buddies, get everything squared away, devise a plan, but part of that plan would involve me and my friends breaking into and raiding every single pharmacy that we can. Why? I need medicine for my epilepsy. Without that medicine, guys, I die. I have a seizure. I could die. That's just the way it goes. You never know with these things. You may survive it. You may not. Depends on the severity of the seizure, and you never know how severe it's going to be. If I run out of medication, bro, you might as well just shoot me in the head. I'm useless. I can't do anything. I can't. I'm just going to fall the fuck out whenever. And there's not really a rhyme or reason to my falling the fuck out if I'm not on medication. It's just random and spontaneous. Boom, seizure, right? Can't have that at all. So I would have to raid places to find my medication. Take as much as I can. I would literally be the equivalent of the fucking ghoul from Fallout. You know how he needs those radiation vials to continue to stay normal and not turn into the vicious ghoul like all his friends? He needs that shit to survive. That would be me. I would need to constantly raid these fucking places for medical supplies, just for my medicine. Without that medicine, I'm fucked.
Corpses and people not being able to bathe for weeks, everyone is going to spend a lot of time puking from the stench. No one can...
Nonsense, man. Me and my friends, when we were deployed, went weeks without bathing either. It was fine.
Completely get used to that level of stank. You should research what happened in Verdun in WW1. I think you'd be surprised at the horrid conditions people can live through. 1. The amount of time they'd punch zombies in the head with no protection on their hands. Knuckles split easily from punching and
I've never really... Who's doing that? What movie? What movie did that? What movie had a human being throwing hands with a zombie? That's stupid. It shouldn't even be on here. That shouldn't even be considered. That's retarded.
You're now a zombie from punching one. 2. Smashing a zombie head with a blunt object will create a spray or mist of blood. Get this in your respiratory system, you're infected. 3. Everyone is always really loud. I feel like I'd be the only one whispering. Pissed. Shut the fuck up. If you haven't noticed, there are zombies everywhere. Condoms and birth control. The absolute last thing I would want in a zombie apocalypse are babies or abortions. Stock up. In the apocalypse, condoms are going to be worth gold.
Speaking of condoms and birth control, While I'm raiding CVS Pharmacy to get my seizure medication, the ladies are also going to be in there raiding all the tampons. Really. Because there's not going to be any more deliveries of tampons for a while. For a while. So I hope y'all do. And get the tampons. Get the tampons. Don't get the tampaks. That's gross. Don't get the pads. That's disgusting. I'd rather you just not or anything at all.
Not least because non-lubricated condoms have a bunch of other uses besides sexy times. Holding water, up to 2L, those things really stretch. They're a bit fragile in this role, kind of like a water balloon. Putting the filled condom inside of an appropriately sized sock is a good way to keep it from tearing. Make sure to tie off the mouth of the condom around a stick or pencil so you can get it open again easily, as the elastic in a slingshot.
That is a good idea, man. Use condoms to store water? Yeah. Didn't even think about that because I was too busy thinking about sex.
3 condoms nested inside of each other attached to each arm of a slingshot, for a total of 6 condoms, with a bit of cord tying them together in the middle makes for a surprisingly good slingshot that you can use to hunt small game. Not with rocks. Oh no, you'll be using hand-whittled wood or bone darts like these, with enough penetrating power to kill a small animal or seriously inconvenience a human. Muzzle cover for firearms. Should be self-explanatory. Keep the nasty crap out of your gun by putting a condom over the muzzle and tying it shut with a bit of string. Medical elastic. Condoms can be used like rubber bands in a splint or dressing, phone case or wrapper. If your area still has cell service, this will be invaluable. That it's not going to be.
And then lastly, and he didn't say it, but it has to be said because it's the zombie apocalypse and these things will probably happen. You got to get rid of a bad egg. You could use that condom to suffocate him in his sleep. For sure. That'd be ideal use. He didn't say it, but I was thinking it, and it's the zombie apocalypse. There is no more laws, there is no more civility, there is no more human order. Like, if you're a bad egg and you're putting things at risk, you're just gonna get got. Really, that's how it goes. Fuck up the safety and get fucked up. That's really
be fun. It's going to be horrifying. I don't really get the people who seem to like the idea of a zombie apocalypse and think it would be fun in games. I just see them as wanting to have the fantasy of killing shit tons of people without the guilt. I don't know anyone who...
Well, I mean, yeah. Man, that'd be great. That would be fun. I mean, I don't want the zombie apocalypse to happen, right? And I think most people feel like me. I don't want the zombie apocalypse to happen. But if it did happen, and I just so happen to have a lot of ammo and a lot of guns, well, you see what I mean? I feel like I'm all the way. I don't feel like I'm wrong here, but
of killing shit tons of people without the guilt. I don't know anyone who would really want it to happen.
Exactly.
But I can empathize. I think it's partly a sense that modern life cramps us in routine. And in this situation, suddenly you are facing adventure, life and death situations, and yes, violence free from moral and legal consequences.
And on top of that, you survive the zombie apocalypse. Like, dude, think about how rare that would be in human history. What? What? Okay. My niece has a mummy statue outside because it's close to Halloween, and Halloween is her favorite, and she put it up, and she wants to go see it. So, hey, give me tell her I'll be there in a minute.
Of course, the reality of losing loved ones and facing death and injury daily would quickly take away anyone's...
That's what I was saying, bro. Like, you know how rare you live in a time where, like, dude, think of all of history, right? And this planet has been here for millions of years. And think about how unique of a lifespan you have that you were alive during such rare of an event, a zombie apocalypse, bro. That's never happened before in the history of humans. I know we got liberals and shit, but that's not the same. All right, it's never happened in the history of humans, right? So to have the unique, distinctive pleasure to being alive during that time and having experienced something that no one has ever experienced before, the idea of that is alluring, right? It's alluring, what it is.
Enthusiasm, but I can see how the idea of looting stores and houses, moving from town to town, developing a tightly knit group of survivors, using your skills to make weapons and defenses against an enemy, etc., might seem appealing compared to doing 9 to 5 every day.
I feel the same way, Master Videos. Like, if it was ever me and one of you in a zombie apocalypse and I get bit, bro, if you don't shoot me before I turn, we're gonna have some fucking problems. Do not let me turn. You better shoot me now. Do not let me turn into that fucking nonsense. You kill me before that shit happens. That's kind of like the way I operate. If I get bit, I get mauled, I get infected, you already know what to do. Just give me a couple seconds to say 1 or 2 goodbyes and then pull the fucking trigger. That's it.
I think this is a reason why apocalypse-type stories, not just zombie ones, are so popular. That if zombies are attracted to the smell of blood, then menstruating individuals would be shit out of luck. Unless you have tampons. That's one.
That means that fighting with your fellow survivors would not be ideal. Because if they can smell blood, the last thing you want to do is have a pissing contest and get into a fight over ego with another one of your fucking survivors. Y'all draw blood on each other, and here comes the fucking horde, right?
Thing I didn't think to stock up excessively in case of zombie apocalypse. These could also be used to set up zombie traps. Reddit, the only place where discussion about zombie apocalypses delves into the prospect of using bloody tampons as traps.
And is it just human blood that they would be able to smell, or is it any blood period? Because yeah, man, setting traps, bro, you could just use animal blood and all that shit, but I don't know. That's, I don't know if you actually win in a zombie apocalypse, man. Like, if you don't find a cure for this, right? Let's just say they come out and say, bro, there's no cure. It is effectively up to you to spend the rest of your life repopulating and cleansing the earth of all of these fucking zombies. If there is no cure. Are you ready for that level of responsibility? Because, you know, in the movies, they always find a cure towards the end, or they find a cure towards the middle, but they don't know, they can't figure out a way on how to distribute it, and then towards the end, they figure out a way on how to distribute it, and blah, blah, blah. There's always some kind of, like, light at the end of the tunnel with these movies. I'm imagining a world where there either is no cure, or all the scientists that were in charge or smart enough to make one, they died. And it's just you and some friends and like some other people and like other factions and other communities and shit. And it's basically up to y'all to repopulate on what was lost. And basically you're just playing janitor with the rest of your life, killing zombies. I know that at first that would seem like a good time, wouldn't it? But like, there's no pension there. There's no retirement plan there. Like, that is simply your duty to the planet, unfortunately. And after 40, 50 years of slaying fucking zombies and slaying some ladies to make more kids, I feel like I'd just be exhausted. I feel like I'd be tapped out. Fuck, dude.
What is something that no one seems to consider in a zombie apocalypse? Leave a comment and
Why what? Why they know old fuck? Why don't they set them on fire? periods generally stop during times like these anyways? What do you mean? Like periods stop in a time of chaos or like insane stress? At first, it would be chaotic and very stressful. But nah, I don't think I've ever seen a zombie movie where they can smell blood. Really. Most of the zombie movies I've seen, it's been based on sound, sight, and smell. For the most part. Oh, wait, what? Periods stop under stress or when you don't have enough food? I didn't know that. You can color me fucking educated. I did not know that at all. Well then, yeah, there you go, ladies. Y'all are pretty set. Don't really have to worry about anything in that case. But even if a lady was on her period, and let's say she had a tampon in, and zombies could smell blood, and there was a lady that was on her period with a tampon in, would they still be able to smell that? I thought it's just if blood left the body. Obviously, if you're a lady walking around with no fucking tampon and you're just leaking, naturally, I can understand that. But I mean, if they have a tampon in or something that's like stopping it from leaking out, then sure. I don't know. This is just a hypothetical on like their sense of smell when it comes to zombies and shit like that. But yeah, that was a lot of shit that I hadn't considered, but a lot of this stuff I had considered before. Really. I would really have to consider the whole medication situation for myself in the case of a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want it to happen, but if it did, I couldn't really say without a shadow of a doubt that I would be super upset. I mean, I basically get to live out my 10-year-old fantasies when I used to fucking spend hours playing House of the Dead when I was younger. So it wouldn't be all bad. And if I perish, I perish, man. No one's meant to live forever, and it's the zombie apocalypse. I gave it my best shot. Fuck it. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, situation, event that, yeah, I'm definitely not missing that. So. Oh, why no wildfire in a zombie apocalypse? That's just, I don't really feel like that's just I don't feel like that's an efficient way of killing zombies. Like leading them into a field and setting the field on fire? I mean, maybe. How are these zombies going to react to fire? You think they're just going to stand in that field and just be burned? Or you think they're just going to take off fucking running? And maybe they take off running and maybe they don't die. So now you have a charged zombie. It's really no more of a threat now than he was 30 minutes ago, but still. You tried to kill him and it didn't happen. Whereas then there's just other ways that are just more, I guess, effective. Unless you just happen to come across a flamethrower, but a flamethrower is not an instant kill, you know? And I'm thinking of the scenario where the zombie's fast, and I hit it with a flamethrower, or I set it on fire. But it doesn't die immediately. And instead, he gets even more pissed off and starts sprinting at me. So not only do I have a zombie sprinting at me now that's really mad, but he's also on fire. That's not a good day. Nah. When it comes to killing zombies, I'm more of just like severing all connection from the body to the brain. Napalm? I mean, if you're in the zombie apocalypse and you can get your hands on napalm, I feel like you're in a pretty safe fucking place and you have plenty of resources to where you don't really even need to go out of your way to even engage zombies. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be fun as fuck to use once, though. So, an axe to a zombie's head. Nah, like he said earlier, bro. And that's one thing that I never considered, and it's one thing that you see a lot in zombie movies, that I always kind of just look past. And that's you hit a zombie with blunt force, that blood spatter is gonna hit you in the face. You breathe it in, that blood gets into your eyes, your mouth, nose, an open wound. It's the zombie apocalypse. You've probably sustained quite a few injuries by this point. Let's say it's month 3. Right? A lot of movies do that. They kind of get it wrong. But it also depends on what kind of infection it is. There's so many different things that go into this, right? So, how does the virus spread? Does it spread based off touch? Does it spread based off blood? Is it airborne? Is it like, how does it spread? What is the transmission rate? Like, all of this stuff goes into account. Heaven forbid that shit mutates. Like, what? That'd be crazy. I just recently watched the movie, we're talking about zombie apocalypse and all this stuff. I recently just watched the movie, is it called Epidemic? No. Contagion. Contagion. It's that movie about an epidemic virus shit, just like COVID. If you watch it, I feel like it's a warning, really. Or just like a preview on what was to come. But yeah, I recently watched that movie. And I know it's not zombies or anything, but it's still a virus nonetheless with a crazy infection rate. So, what would be the name of the virus? I don't know, but I know there's this app. It's a mobile game called Plague. And basically in the game, you can create a virus and you can start infecting people and you can upgrade your virus and you can mutate your virus to kill more people. And the objective is to kill the whole planet while doctors try to stop you with like vaccines and shit. Super fun game. I played it a lot. Anyways, in the game, you can name your virus. And I think I played it a lot, so I made a lot of different, like, I did a lot of different games, like new game. I would start new games and stuff like that. The only name I can remember, one virus, I called it Uncle Sam's Gizzard Juice or something like that. I think that's what it was. Uncle Sam's Gizzard Juice was the name of my virus. And I lost with Uncle Sam's Gizzard Juice. I think I took out like 97% of the population. And then these fuck-ass scientists made a goddamn vaccine, and it was too late for me to do anything else. So I essentially had to let the vaccine run its course. And by the time I could do anything, everyone was pretty much damn near already cured. And it was just, yeah, I lost. So I had to start over. That was a good virus too. I had put some good stuff into that. That one had like some really good mutations. I like that one. Plague Inc. Yeah, that was the name. It was It was good. If y'all never played it, man, if y'all are ever like mega bored, you're just looking past like 10, 15, 20 minutes, fucking, it's cool. That's nice. All right, dudes, guys, and gals alike, I have to go. I have to go outside and I have to play with my niece and quite possibly do a fucking rain dance around this fucking mummy that she has out there. Oh, and I'm starving, so I might get some food. Yeah. But if we're live tomorrow, I'll let y'all know. Usually we don't go live on Sundays, but I missed a day this week, so maybe. But we will be live again on Monday, and Monday will probably be variety or maybe music. I don't know. I'll let y'all know again Sunday or something as well. I'll keep you on the loop. All right. So have a good rest of y'all's evening. Enjoy y'all's Saturday. Enjoy y'all's weekend. And I will see y'all next week. All right. If I don't see y'all next week, I'll see y'all some other time. I appreciate all the continued support lately, guys. YouTube, Twitch, subs and all that stuff, and patrons and all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. But yeah, I'm out. I'm gonna go hang out with this little crazy one for a little bit, and then I'm gonna play some Assassin's Creed. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. It came out for mobile and it has fantastic controller support. I could play it on my console, but I don't feel like turning that bitch on. I just saw that it had just come out, so I started playing it, and it's no different from the console version. It's just on mobile. Plays the same, looks the same shit, upgrades, all that stuff. So I'll probably be playing that a little bit tonight. I've been liking it so far. I still haven't played the Samurai Assassin's Creed. I don't think I will for a while until I finish this one. Usually it takes me about 6 months to get through an Assassin's Creed game because I do everything in the game, like side missions and all that shit. Trophy hunting and stuff, so be a minute. Anyways, alright. Love y'all. I will see y'all later. Have a good evening. Bye. If y'all need anything, y'all can hit me up on Discord. I'm always there. Either at me or DM me. Does not matter. Alright.